Chapter 30, 419. The old man also walked forward. The two saints of the second heaven surrounded Lin Xian from the front and the back. The remaining Vermilion Bird Palace people all retreated. They weren't worried. Perhaps they were careless before, but now the two second heaven stage saints could definitely kill the other party. Kill! The two second heaven stage saints didn't waste any words and immediately attacked. Among them, the old man controlled the flying sword that flashed with incomparable killing intent. The law of killing pierced through the void. The other was the law of fire. The monstrous flames carried an incomparable aura. The combination of the two was incomparably terrifying. Even if the opponent was also a second heaven stage saint, he would probably die. Buzz! Lin Xian held the great destruction spear and used the nine-yang sword technique to fight against the flame cauldron. Although the other party was a second heaven stage saint, his five elements law wasn't weak either. Therefore, he wasn't at a disadvantage at all. On the other side, he used the Kuan Peng movement technique to dodge the flying sword. At the critical moment, he used the stellar transposition. This time, the flying sword directly attacked the middle-aged man. With a puchi, the middle-aged man was pierced by the flying sword. The middle-aged man screamed miserably as a bloody hole appeared on his body. The law of fire on his body was constantly repairing. His face was gloomy as he roared crazily. "Damn it, you attacked me?" The old man's face was also ugly. "I didn't attack you, I killed that kid." "Damn it, that kid is too strange. He seems to be able to affect my flying sword. Previously, I was injured by my own flying sword." What? The moment these words came out, the middle-aged man was stunned. The Vermilion Bird Palace experts were even more stunned. What was going on? Previously, they knew that Lin Xian had the nine-yang inheritance and the great dragon technique. His defense was strong and his attack was terrifying, but they had never seen him use such a strange method. Where did he get this from? Could it be the inheritance of the great emperor? However, they had never seen Yan Nantian use it before. Therefore, they were incomparably shocked. Lin Xian laughed. He laughed very happily. Could it be the divine ability of a great emperor? It was indeed powerful. He was able to face two saints of the second heaven without being at a disadvantage. However, he did not continue to fight, because he knew that these people had definitely notified the Vermilion Bird Palace's headquarters. It wouldn't be long before the little saints arrived. Therefore, Lin Xian laughed coldly. "This young master has no time to play with you. Vermilion Bird Palace, I will remember you. In the future, I will uproot you." With that, Lin Xian soared into the sky, intending to leave. "Damn it, stop him! Don't let him go!" The surrounding people roared crazily. The two second heaven sages sneered. "You want to leave? Do you think you can?" The surrounding Vermilion Bird Palace experts all attacked. All sorts of weapon laws wildly surged out. However, under Lin Xian's powerful battle prowess, everything turned to ashes. Nothing could stop him. The five elemental laws transformed him into a five-colored divine dragon that flew rapidly. The Vermilion Bird Palace experts were all stunned. Damn it, what kind of law was this? The other party had just become a first heaven sage. It hadn't been long, but the power of his law was so terrifying. It was not weak compared to the second heaven sages. One had to know that these second heaven sages had cultivated for thousands of years. That was why the power of their law was so strong. However, what did the other party have? Damn it, the five elemental laws. He had actually cultivated the five elemental laws into one. The two second heaven sages were also shocked beyond words. The middle-aged man waved his hand, and a flaming mountain that filled the sky directly imprisoned heaven and earth. On the other side, the person who used the killing intent law instantly set up more than 1,000 killing arrays. The densely packed array made one's scalp tingle. The terrifying power instantly turned that space into a complete mess. Lin Xian held the Great Destruction Spear in his hand and used the Nine-Yang sword technique. His left hand used the Stellar Transposition. His powerful divine body suppressed everything. A part of it was shattered, and some of the power was transferred by him to attack each other. Between heaven and earth, black holes kept appearing. Of course, the aftermath of this energy also blasted his body, causing his blood and chi to roar. However, how strong was the Nine-Yang divine body? He was only slightly affected, but his foundation was not affected at all. He charged out forcefully. He came out. The other party escaped again. They were really stunned. Who was this person? They had never seen a first heaven sage like this. This was simply heaven-defying. Humph, I don't have time to play with you. Lin Xian rose into the air, but he did not completely leave. He still had one move that he had not used. He opened his heavenly secret, divine eyes. Among the golden runes, green Tao patterns appeared. Blue sea tide, a ball of golden-green light, exploded. With Lin Xian's eyes as the center, it spread in all directions. These green ripples were like waves, instantly roaring. The Vermilion Bird Palace experts who wanted to give chase were stunned. In the next moment, they hugged their heads and screamed. The first heaven sages' faces were distorted. Even the 2-second heaven sages' faces were pale. Not good. Soul attack. They all roared. Blue Sea Tide was not only a soul attack, but also a group attack. Once it was used, everyone in the space would be affected. Some of the weaker ones were directly killed. Their bodies were intact, but there was no vitality. The first heaven sages were also seriously injured. Their faces were pale, and they looked dispirited. Even the 2-second heaven sages were covered in cold sweat. They were also affected. Damn it. What kind of skill was this? It was too terrifying. The other party's strength was simply beyond their imagination. The inheritance of a great emperor must be a great inheritance. It was very likely that he had learned the inheritance of great Emperor Hongwu. Yes, that's right. The other old man's eyes were also shining. Although it was different from Yan Nantian's, Yan Nantian was only a half-saint before, and this kid was a sage. He might have cultivated an inheritance that Yan Nantian did not know. Kill him. I must get great Emperor Hongwu's inheritance. These people were crazy. Buzz. The sky and earth shattered. 2 small saints descended, bringing with them more Vermilion Bird Palace experts. Where is he? One of the small saints asked coldly. The others knelt on the ground and reported to the Grand Elder. That person is very strange and powerful. He must have cultivated the inheritance of a great emperor. What? Chase after him. In addition, mobilize everyone. Don't let him escape on the path to planet Langia. The Vermilion Bird Palace chased after him like crazy. Everyone on planet Suzaku was completely shocked at this moment. They knew that the Vermilion Bird Palace was chasing after Lin Wudi. However, it had been calm during this period of time, and they thought that the matter was over. They did not expect that the Vermilion Bird Palace would go crazy again today. Chapter 30:420. And this time, regardless of whether it was on planet Suzaku, the people of Vermilion Bird Palace had already come to the outer realm. It seemed like they had set up something on the ancient star path. This scene shocked everyone. Perhaps something big was about to happen. The people from the other star realms also sensed this, and they were immediately puzzled. They all poked their heads out, and then they all sucked in a cold breath. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace were going to attack Lin Wudi. What was going on? Were they going to clear the path for Yan Nantian? After the Dark Moon Temple learned of this, they frowned. Investigate, they must investigate carefully. Not only the Dark Moon Temple, but the 8-Wind Palace and other top factions were also investigating this matter, because they felt that this was too unusual. Under normal circumstances, if they wanted to kill Lin Wudi, such a threatening, peerless prodigy, they would secretly send elites to kill him. They would definitely not make such a big fuss. After all, killing a peerless prodigy with great fanfare was a huge taboo on the ancient star path. because if such a thing was not restrained and spread, then the unlucky ones would be all their factions. If you had elites and could kill the prodigies of other sects, then the elites of other sects could also kill your prodigies. Then it would be a complete mess. Therefore, they would not openly carry out such a large-scale killing, but would only secretly attack, so that others could not find evidence. But now, Vermilion Bird Palace's actions were very unusual. Therefore, it made the other sacred grounds feel that something must have happened that they did not know. This caused the people of Vermilion Bird Palace to go completely crazy. At the same time, they had another question. Lin Wudy should have gone to the Void Sea. Why would he appear here? Why was he being hunted down by Vermilion Bird Palace? Could it be that something had happened at the Void Sea? Could it be that Yen Nantian was defeated by Lin Wudy in the Void Sea? They were very puzzled, so they decided to ask about the Void Sea. The Void Ocean was too far away, but each family and sect had their own sound transmission array formation. They sent out messages to ask those people in the Void Sea. However, after waiting for a long time, they did not receive any response. It was as if those people had disappeared. Damn it! How is this possible? They sent messages again to ask. However, there was no response. This time those people panicked. That shouldn't be the case. Looking at the time, it should be about time for him to return. Besides, Lin Wudy's return means that the Sea of Void must be over. But why is there no response from our people? Could it be that there was an accident? Thinking of this possibility, their hearts sank, and they hurriedly went to investigate. Each of these forces had sent a small team to the Void Sea to find out what was going on. At the same time, they were also gathering information like crazy on planet Suzaku, because the people of planet Suzaku must know something. Very few people knew that Yen Nantian had been killed. Aside from the people of the Vermilion Bird Palace, those who knew had all been killed. Therefore, no one else on planet Suzaku knew that Yen Nantian was dead, and the people of Suzaku Palace wouldn't say anything even if they were beaten to death. After asking around, the major factions only found out that Lin Wudy seemed to have obtained some incredible treasure. The Vermilion Bird Palace was jealous, which was why they attacked like crazy. Treasure? Lin Wudy? Void Ocean? Suddenly, they were stunned. Could it be that Lin Wudy had obtained some important treasure from the Sea of Void? The Vermilion Bird Palace was jealous, which was why they were chasing after him like crazy. At the same time, they found out that Saint Mu Bai of planet Langia had already returned. Yen Ruyu and the North Demon had also left. The moment the news came out, they were all stunned. The people of planet Langia had returned safely. Lin Wudy was also causing trouble outside, but their people had mysteriously disappeared. This made them know that something must have happened in the Sea of Void, and this change was very likely related to the Vermilion Bird Palace's rage. Damn it, what was it? They could only ask the people of Vermilion Bird Palace while going to planet Langia to gather information. Of course, Lin Xian didn't know any of this. Lin Xian was very safe at the moment because he was still on planet Suzaku. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace probably wouldn't have guessed that he was in such a dangerous place. In a very remote mountain range on planet Suzaku, Lin Xian had opened up a cave tens of thousands of kilometers underground. He was cultivating there. He wanted to improve stellar transposition and blue tide again. Because these two abilities were simply too powerful, Lin Xian felt a great power when he used them for the first time. Therefore, he knew that this would be an important method for him in the future. He had to make use of this time to improve. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Xian opened his eyes and felt that it was time to return. Although the most dangerous place was the safest place, there might be some terrifying existence awakening in Vermilion Bird Palace. This time it was a small saint. If a holy sovereign or sage king awakened, it would be bad. The means of a sage king made Lin Xian's hair stand on end. Therefore, he felt that it was safest to return to planet Langia first. "Kid, are you sure you want to go back?" Just then, the Black Mountain Great Sage asked through voice transmission. If news of Yen Nanshan's death spreads, everyone's target will be you. Previously, you had 2 great inheritances, which made people jealous. However, you were strong and had planet Langia. Moreover, there was a dazzling genius like Yen Nantian to distract them. Therefore, you were not in danger at that time. But now, Yen Nantian is dead and he was killed by you. In everyone's opinion, Yen Nanshan's inheritance must be with you. Although the 9 sons' inheritance was tempting, they still had to consider it. However, the inheritance of great Emperor Hongwu was different. Not to mention these sages, even sage kings and great sages would be jealous of the inheritance of a great emperor. When the time comes, do you think Langistar will make a move on you? Hearing this, Lin Xian fell silent for a while, but soon he said, I believe Langistar will not. Moreover, they might be able to deduce that I did not obtain the true inheritance of a great emperor. Therefore, I have decided to go back. All right. Black Mountain did not say anything else. Lin Xian hid his aura and prepared to leave quietly. In the past half a year, Dragon Valley, 8 Wind Palace, and other powerful forces had gone crazy. Because they were really crazy. In half a year, there was no news of the experts and geniuses that they had sent to the Void Ocean. This made them despair. They knew that these people were most likely dead, but they wanted to know who the murderer was. They wanted revenge. They wanted to tear the murderer into pieces. Chapter 30, 4:21. Among them, they focused their investigation on the Langistar because they were the only ones who managed to return. Although the Vermilion Bird Palace had gone berserk, the people they had sent to the Void Ocean had not returned. Even Yen Nantian seemed to have disappeared without a trace. The Langistar acted as if it was facing a great enemy, and once again activated its world-level array formation. The entire star realm was completely enveloped. They also refused to provide any clues to anyone. However, the Dragon Valley and the 8 Wind Palace were very powerful, so they still managed to obtain some information. First of all, it seemed that only Sage Mu Bai had returned. Other than that, everyone else seemed to have fallen. It was also revealed that Lin Xian had obtained the great sage's inheritance from the Sikong family. It was also said that the fall of the elites and geniuses of the various large families was related to this great sage's inheritance. When this news came out, the surrounding large families and sects were all stunned. As expected, a peerless treasure had indeed appeared. The great sage's inheritance. Even they were jealous of it now. No wonder the Vermilion Bird Palace had attacked like crazy. It seemed like the other party was after the great sage's inheritance. Should we make a move? Damn it. Lin Wudi had not returned to the Langistar yet. We must act quickly. Yes, we must not let the Vermilion Bird Palace get ahead of us. The elites of the Dragon Valley and the 8 Wind Palace quickly discussed countermeasures. The people from the Sikong clan were completely crazy. They had not paid much attention before, but when they heard that their great sage's inheritance had appeared, they were all pleasantly surprised. However, when they found out that their great sage's inheritance had been snatched away by an outsider, they went completely crazy. Their reaction was no worse than the Vermilion Bird Palace's. Damn it, our own ancestors' inheritance must not fall into the hands of others. Yes, capture Lin Wudi and tear him to pieces. Lin Wudi was too greedy. He already had the 9 sons' inheritance and the great dragon inheritance. How dare he covet our great sage's inheritance? He deserved to die. The Sikong family swore that they would capture Lin Wudi and take back their inheritance. The Langistar. It was as if they were facing a great enemy. In fact, Sage Mu Bai and the others had immediately sent people to receive Lin Xian after returning. After all, Lin Xian was too dangerous. However, when they returned to the Void Ocean, they found that there was no one there. Lin Xian was nowhere to be found. This made them extremely anxious all the way. In the end, they discovered that the news had been exposed and countless experts had come to besiege the Langistar. As a result, they had no choice but to activate a world-level defensive formation. At the same time, they were even more worried about Lin Xian's safety. These people would definitely go crazy and hunt down Lin Xian, regardless of the consequences. However, there was one piece of information that surprised them greatly. Lin Xian actually went to planet Suzaku. What was going on? This information was obtained by chance, so they were even more confused. Could it be related to Yen Nantian? They didn't know, so they could only send people to search quickly. However, at this moment, a piece of news spread. The moment this news came out, it caused an uproar in the myriad worlds. Yen Nantian was dead. Yen Nantian had been killed, and he was killed by Lin Wudi. This news was simply too crazy. The major families, sects, and sacred grounds were all stunned. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace roared madly when they heard the news. Damn it, who was it? They had already killed everyone who knew. The others were all members of Vermilion Bird Palace. It was impossible for them to leak the news. But now the news had still spread. Reporting to the palace master, a saint has disappeared. This news appeared in Vermilion Bird Palace. The expressions of the Vermilion Bird Palace master and the Grand Elders changed when they heard it. Damn it, this is bad. An expert has kidnapped one of our saints and is searching his soul. That was how they learned about Yen Nantian. This small saint's guess was right. The person who took action was someone from Eight Wind Palace. A small saint from Eight Wind Palace secretly took action and kidnapped a Vermilion Bird Palace saint on planet Suzaku. Then, they received the news after searching his soul. When they heard the news, they were also extremely shocked. Yen Nantian was dead. He was killed by Lin Wudi. No wonder Vermilion Bird Palace was so crazy. Yen Nantian was the hope of Vermilion Bird Palace. Now their hope was destroyed. How could they not be crazy? Moreover, they guessed that Yen Nantian's great emperor inheritance might have fallen into Lin Xian's hands. This made them even more jealous. No, they had to keep this news a secret and secretly capture Lin Wudi. But they didn't expect Eight Wind Palace to have a spy. That was why the news spread, and it spread all over the universe. Once the news came out, it was a big deal. It wasn't just about the Void Ocean and the Great Sane inheritance. It involved the Great Emperor inheritance. They were well aware of how terrifying the inheritance of Great Emperor Hongwu was. If they could get it, their chances of becoming a great emperor would increase greatly. Suddenly, everyone's eyes turned red. Originally, Planet Langia was already in the limelight. This news caused Planet Langia to be in extreme danger again. Planet Langia had no choice but to activate many world-class formations. Even the Langia Palace Master and some Grand Elders had no choice but to go to the underground Dragon Vein, ready to awaken some living fossils at any time. They used their foundation to prevent the destruction of the world. Langia Palace. The Crimson Dragon was extremely anxious. Yen Ryu had already left, but the Northern Demon and his sister stayed behind. The Northern Demon stood on a mountain peak and frowned. He didn't know how Brother Lin was doing now. To be honest, he was really worried. Beside him, the Crimson Dragon also walked out, shaking his head and sighing. The Northern Demon asked, "Have you found him?" The Crimson Dragon said, "No, I can't contact him." However, Saint Mubai and the others had already deduced that his life was not in danger. This was probably the best result. As for where that kid was, they still didn't know. "Why? It seems like you guys miss me a lot." At this moment, a faint voice sounded. The Crimson Dragon was shocked. "Damn, who is it?" His dragon blood surged, ready to attack at any time. The Northern Demon exclaimed, "Brother Lin, is that you?" "Yes, it's me." The void in front of him cracked open, and a figure walked out. The Northern Demon was happy, but the Crimson Dragon was puzzled. "Wait, who knows if it's a liar? Kid, show me the 9-yang divine body and the dragon's sword soul. You've become more cautious in Ruzalong after not seeing you for a few days." In front of him, Lin Xian smiled. The 9-yang divine body bloomed, and the dragon sword soul rumbled. The Crimson Dragon's chi and blood surged. He said, "It's really you. I knew you wouldn't die." He rushed forward, and so did the Northern Demon. They were really too happy. "Of course I'm fine. By the way, where's Ruyu?" Lin Xian asked. Chapter 34:22. Lin Xian knew that his whereabouts had been exposed along the way. Moreover, he had encountered many probes along the way. However, he had concealed his aura, and with the Black Mountain Great Sage as a cover, he had managed to reach the Langistar. After arriving at the Langistar, he heaved a sigh of relief. Yanruyu had already returned. He had wanted to stay here for a while, but the Langistar was surrounded. Thus, the two protectors beside her forcibly pulled her away. "So that's how it is." Lin Xian nodded. However, he was relieved to know that Yanruyu was fine. "Let's go and meet Sage Mubai." They quickly rose into the air. When they arrived at the main hall, Sage Mubai and the others screamed, "Lin Xian, you're finally back." They finally heaved a sigh of relief. They had already heard the news of Yan Nanchan's death. But if Lin Xian died, the loss would be even greater. They did not expect that Lin Xian had finally returned safely. "That's great." Immediately, the Vermilion Bird Palace's palace master and the elders arrived. When they saw the scene, they laughed out loud. "The heavens are helping me. Quickly strengthen the defense and seal off the news. No one is allowed to spread the news of Lin Xian. Those who violate will be killed without mercy." The Langya Palace Lord immediately gave the order. Next, the Langya Palace held a banquet. The main character of the banquet was naturally Lin Xian. Lin Xian was now their biggest backer. He was powerful and talented. His future was limitless. More importantly, he had brought back the Supreme Saint's Dharma idol and resolved the crisis of the Langistar. It could be said that the entire Langistar was excited and worshipped Lin Xian. However, at this moment, an old man spoke. "Rumor has it that you killed Yan Nantian. Is this true?" As soon as he said this, the surrounding people stopped talking. Everyone held their breaths and stared at Lin Xian with wide eyes. "Oh no." The Crimson Dragon cursed inwardly. "Oh no." Saint Mu Bai also frowned. He said that these were just rumors and should not be taken seriously. Is that so? What a pity. I originally thought that Hall Master Lin had killed Yan Nantian and obtained his inheritance. He initially wanted to see what the succession of a martial monarch was like. The old man shook his head and didn't say anything else. After that, the atmosphere of the banquet became a little strange, so it ended early. Lin Xian handed the Dharma idol of the great sage to the Langistar so that they could use it to suppress the demonic chi on the Langistar. As for him, he returned to the 8th hall, because now that place was his territory. The North Fae and the Crimson Dragon also came to the 8th palace. They were all assigned as vice palace masters. However, they were not too excited. This title meant nothing to them. After entering the 8th palace, the Crimson Dragon set up a formation to isolate everything. "Did you really kill Yan Nantian, brat? You really killed him?" The North Demon was extremely curious as well. News was flying all over the outside world right now. Facing the two, Lin Xian had nothing to hide. He said, "That's right, I did kill Yan Nantian." The two of them sucked in a cold breath. The North Fae asked, "Did Yan Nantian not revive?" He had the Emperor Regeneration Talisman. Lin Xian said, "I've killed him many times and used up all his Emperor Regeneration Talismans. So this time he's completely dead." The Crimson Dragon asked, "Where's the succession of a martial monarch? Did you get the succession of a martial monarch?" He was too excited. However, Lin Xian shook his head. "No, it's not that easy to get a martial monarch's legacy. You'll probably have to have a great opportunity. Otherwise, you won't be able to get it. After I killed Yan Nantian, the inheritance of great Emperor Hongwu flew away on its own." "What?" "That's what happened." The Crimson Dragon and the North Fae were stunned, then sighed. They knew that Lin Xian wouldn't lie to them. What a pity. That's the succession of a martial monarch. If you can get it, your chances of becoming a martial monarch in the future will be much higher. It's useless. The succession of a martial monarch doesn't acknowledge you. Even if you're a great sage, you won't be able to get it. So, there's nothing to be sad about. Lin Xian shook his head. He didn't take this matter to heart. However, the North Fae frowned. We believe in this matter, but others won't believe us if we tell them. Yes, I thought that the Langya star is reliable, but now people are asking about this matter at the banquet. Obviously, these people are jealous of the succession of a martial monarch. Do you think the Langya star will make a move? Lin Xian was silent. He had just helped the Langya star suppress the demonic energy. These people shouldn't be so ungrateful, right? Kid, you don't know that the Langya star isn't united. There are many factions inside. Especially now, there are so many strong enemies outside. Some living fossils under the dragon vein are about to awaken. Maybe 1 or 2 of them have already woken up. On the surface, the palace master is powerful and can manage everything. But he can't do anything about those living fossils. In the end, he might even be a figurehead. So, if a living fossil wants to snatch it, the Langya palace master and Saint Mu can't do anything about it. Hearing this, Lin Xian was silent. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. But after thinking about it, he said that there are more strong enemies outside. Dragon Valley 8-Wind Palace, and those are all looking for me. And Vermilion Bird Palace. So it's not safe outside. It's better to stay on the Langya star. You said it yourself. Only some people are jealous, and some will protect us. So, it won't be easy for those people to make a move. The North Fae and the Crimson Dragon nodded. Since Lin Xian said so, they will settle down here for the time being. They will go out when the situation outside calms down. However, 3 days later, someone came to invite Lin Xian for tea. It was someone from the second hall. Lin Xian frowned at this invitation. He didn't know anyone from the second hall. He only knew a few people like Saint Mu Bai. As for the people from the second hall, he really didn't know. My elders said that I must invite Hall Master Lin. Otherwise, I will be punished and face the wall for 100 years. So, please go, Hall Master Lin. Outside the door, a little boy insisted. It seemed that he wouldn't leave if Lin Xian didn't go. What should I do? Kid, do you want to go? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Then he said, Okay, I'll see what they have up their sleeves. My 2 friends also wanted to go with us. The little boy said, Sure, Hall Master Lin can bring any friends. The little boy led the way happily, and Lin Xian and the others followed behind. The Langya star was full of Langya Palace's forces. So, the distance between the second hall and the 8th hall was quite far. The spirit boat flew for half a day before they arrived at the second hall. Chapter 34:23. In the second palace, the cloudy mist celestial vine shone with a brilliant light. The mountains seemed to be able to split the sky and earth apart, giving off a majestic aura. Waterfalls cascaded down from the mountains like the Milky Way, hanging upside down from the 9 heavens. It was a spectacular sight. Just as they approached, 2 figures instantly rushed out from the mountain range below and shouted coldly, You're right. Stop, who are you? The 2 people were wearing armor and had powerful auras. They were obviously the guards of the mountain. The boy said, It's me. I'm here to invite Hall Master Lin under the orders of the elders. It turned out to be Hall Master Lin. The 2 guards in front cupped their fists respectfully when they saw Lin Xian and made an inviting gesture. Lin Xian and the others followed the boy and entered the mountains and rivers below. They landed on a mountain range, and the platform was cut off at the waist. There were many spirit flowers and spirit herbs on it, and it was indeed a good place to live. However, after they settled down, Lin Xian and the others waited for 2 days, but no one came to meet them. The Crimson Dragon was impatient. Damn, what's the meaning of this? Are they messing with us? Lin Xian also frowned. The Northern Demon also said coldly, What's going on? Are they trying to intimidate us? Indeed, they were invited, but the owner of this place did not want to see them and left the place cold for 3 days. No matter who it was, they would lose their temper. Since they're not coming, let's go. Lin Xian stood up and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, a group of people flew over from afar. The leader was a man who looked like a young master. He held a folding fan and walked over with a smile. "Hall Master Lin, sorry for the disrespect. Our elder had something to do and was delayed. Please don't blame us, Hall Master Lin. Our Hall Master sent me to accompany you, Hall Master Lin." The people around him were also smiling, but he did not know if it was an illusion. But he felt that the smiles in their eyes were not that friendly. "No, I have something to do too. Let's talk about tea later." Lin Xian prepared to leave. However, the young man with the folding fan said, "Hall Master Lin, that's not good. Since you're already here, why don't you stay for a while longer? Otherwise, all of us would have come here for nothing." Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon sneered. "Who do you think you are? How dare you compare yourself to us? You came here for nothing, but didn't we come here for nothing too? You're just a small disciple, so you're unhappy that you came here for nothing? But what are we? We have 2 Vice Palace Masters and the 8th Palace Master. We've been waiting here for 3 days and 3 nights. Do you think we're happy? Damn it, are you trying to fool us? If you're not convinced, then come and fight me." The dark rainbow dragon was thoroughly enraged. Upon hearing these words, the faces of the surrounding people darkened. Did this mean that Palace Master Lin was not giving face to the second hall? Face is earned. Since you don't want to give me face, then aren't you thinking too much by asking me to give you face? Lin Xian's face darkened as well, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. "Hee, Hall Leader Lin, our second hall is not a place you can come and go as you please." The young man with a fan let out a hollow laugh. "What? Are you trying to stop us? Looks like you're really courting death." The Crimson Dragon was also angry. He was originally an arrogant guy, not to mention that he was from the Divine Dragon clan. How could he be bothered with these people? Although Lin Xian did not say anything, his heart was as clear as a mirror. These people had lured them here, but no one came to see them. After they left, they were not allowed to leave. This was obviously putting them under house arrest. He instantly understood what the other party was up to. It seemed like some people were too greedy and coveted the great emperor's inheritance. Upon hearing the Crimson Dragon's words, the young man said coldly, "The second hall will not fight with others so easily. However, the second hall also has its own rules. Not just anyone can challenge us. Everyone, please calm down." At this moment, a few figures flew over from afar. Upon seeing these figures, the surrounding people hurriedly bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Elder." After these people landed, they laughed and said, "Palace Master Lin, it's a misunderstanding. You haven't seen us for a few days. What's there to misunderstand?" The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. The people from the second hall were not angry. Among them, the leading elder looked young. He said, "It's like this, Palace Master Lin. Didn't you bring the Supreme Saint Dharma idol? It has indeed suppressed a portion of the demonic aura. However, there is still a portion that is hidden too deeply and cannot be communicated at the moment. Therefore, we would like to borrow Palace Master Lin's Great Spear of Destruction. We will use it to draw out the remaining demonic aura and suppress it together." Oh, this matter. Lin Xian frowned. Was he thinking too much? He said, "All right, I'll go with you." There was no need for Palace Master Lin to go personally. Palace Master Lin has just returned from outside. You must be tired. Palace Master Lin, you only need to rest here and hand the Great Spear of Destruction to us. Hand it to you? Lin Xian frowned. The Crimson Dragon also snorted coldly. "Kid, don't do that. Who knows what they're up to? Palace Master Lin, you're thinking too much. I'm here. Don't you believe me?" Just then, an old man stood out. When they saw this person, the northern demon and Hong both exclaimed in surprise because they recognized this person. This person was one of the powerful cultivators who had followed Sage Mu Bai to bring them back from the Void Ocean. They didn't expect him to be here too. Could it be true? Lin Xian said, "Where's Elder Mu Bai? If he's here, I'll lend it to you. Palace Master Lin, I'm here. Seems like Boss Lin is thinking too much." Sage Mu Bai descended. *TK, he's here. Is this old man fake? The Crimson Dragon took a closer look but didn't find anything strange. The Northern Demon frowned as well. Lin Xian was shocked. Could it be that he was overthinking things? "All right, I'll lend it to you." Since they were here to borrow a Dharma treasure to suppress the demonic aura, he didn't think too much. Therefore, he took out the Great Spear of Destruction and gave it to Sage Mu Bai and the others. Those people laughed. "Don't worry, Palace Master Lin. Just wait here for a while. We'll return it within 7 days." Then, the few of them quickly rose into the air. "Palace Master Lin, please." The young man with a folding fan said and made an inviting gesture. Lin Xian said, "There's no need. I'll go back first. I'll come back when the time comes." He activated the teleportation portal and left quickly. However, after waiting for 7 days, no one returned the Great Spear of Destruction. There wasn't even an explanation. This made Lin Xian frown. "Damn it, what's wrong with these guys? Could it be that they don't want to give it to us anymore?" The Crimson Dragon muttered. "Perhaps they haven't succeeded in communicating with the demonic aura. But that's not right. Even if they haven't succeeded, they should have said something, right?" They looked at Lin Xian. "Kid, what do you think we should do?" Chapter 34:24. Lin Xian stood up. "I'll go find Saint Mu Bai." He leaped into the air. "Let's go." The Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon followed. They activated the formation and headed to Saint Mu Bai's cave. When they arrived, Saint Mu Bai was surprised. "Why are you here instead of resting? Is there something wrong?" The Crimson Dragon said, "Old man, you said it well. You borrowed our Great Spear of Destruction and said that you would return it in 7 days. Why are you acting like nothing happened now? Let me ask you, where's the Great Spear of Destruction?" "What Great Spear of Destruction?" Saint Mu Bai was stunned. "I've never seen it before. How is that possible? Damn it. You're not thinking of taking the Great Spear of Destruction for yourself, are you?" Saint Mu Bai frowned. "I've been discussing things with the Palace Master and the others for the past few days. Palace Master Lin will know if you check. Did something happen to Palace Master Lin?" Lin Xian furrowed his brows and recounted the events that had transpired. Saint Mu Bai's expression changed. "Damn the second palace. How dare they impersonate me? I'll take you there." "No need. Since it's not you, Saint Mu Bai, I know what's going on. I can deal with this matter myself." A cold light flashed in Lin Xian's eyes. It seemed that someone had actually set their sights on him. "Since that's the case, I don't mind showing my strength." With that, Lin Xian left. The Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon followed. They frowned and said, "It seems that we've been deceived. Yes, it's not Saint Mu Bai at all. Could it be that someone else is impersonating him to steal the Great Spear of Destruction? It must be the people from the Second Palace. Damn it, the Second Palace is too bold. The Great Spear of Destruction is a sacred weapon. It's a world-famous, murderous weapon. If we can get it, our strength will increase greatly. Someone must be targeting us. We tried so hard to prevent them from asking about the Great Emperor's inheritance, but we didn't expect them to target the Great Spear of Destruction. Kid, you can't be soft this time. Otherwise, they would think that we are easy to bully." The Crimson Dragon gnashed its teeth. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Of course. I'll let them know that I, Lin Xian, won't let them take my things so easily." They flew all the way to the area of the second hall. "Who was it?" The 2 guards coldly shouted again. However, Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to them. Instead, he directly rushed in. Someone was trying to force their way in. The two guards were shocked. The Northern Devil said, "This is the 8th Palace Master. He has come here for business." The 8th Palace Master. When the two of them heard this, they were stunned. They realized that it was indeed Lin Xian who had arrived. "Please let us inform them." "No, I'll go by myself." Lin Xian immediately flew off into the distance. When the two guards saw this scene, their faces changed drastically, and they hurriedly went inside to report the matter. Soon, a few figures rushed out of the second hall. Hall Master Lin. These people were the ones from before. The one leading them was the young man with a folding fan. "Hall Master Lin, why are you in such a hurry to come to the second hall?" The young man with a folding fan asked with a smile. "Oh, you're quite good at pretending. What do you think is the matter? You took our great spear of destruction, so we're naturally here to take it back." The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. The young man with a folding fan was stunned. The Crimson Dragon shouted, "Damn, aren't you too shameless? 7 days ago, a group of elders borrowed our great spear of destruction here. How dare you say that this didn't happen?" "Oh, I'm sorry about what happened a few days ago. I've been too busy recently. I'll have to ask about this matter. Hall Master Lin, I'll lead you to rest." "No need." Lin Xian stood in the void and said coldly, "Then I'll go and ask first." The young man with a folding fan turned into a stream of light and rushed into the distance. After about 2 hours, he returned and sighed. "Oh, Hall Master Lin, I'm so sorry. You came at such a bad time. Our primordial chaos elder is currently in seclusion. So, I don't know how your weapon is, Hall Master Lin. However, you don't have to be impatient, Hall Master Lin. Wait for some time until our elder comes out of seclusion. I think you can ask him then." "Seclusion?" The North Demon's expression changed. It was obvious that the young man was trying to deny it. The Crimson Dragon's temper was much worse than the North Demon's. Therefore, he immediately became angry. "Damn it, do you think we're fools? What? Your elder wants to take our great spear of destruction. You're courting death. Where is he in seclusion? I'll kill him with a slap." As the Crimson Dragon spoke, the surrounding situation changed. The expressions of the people from the second hall also changed, and the young man with a folding fan also frowned. "I think you'd better calm down. Some things can't be said carelessly. Although you're the Deputy Hall Master, you're only from the 8th hall. Compared to the second hall, you're too weak. If you want to behave atrociously in our second hall, you'd better find out about the situation of the entire Langistar before you decide if you want to take action." The young man with a folding fan said arrogantly. He was indeed very confident. The entire Langistar was filled with people from the Langia Palace. However, it was divided into many regions. Lin Xian and the others were only from the 8th hall. The 8th hall's influence was relatively small in the entire Langistar. It couldn't be compared to the second hall at all. Although these people were the Hall Master and Deputy Hall Master, in terms of real power, they couldn't even compare to an elder from the second hall. This was the difference between the second hall and the 8th hall. The second hall was probably only slightly weaker than the first hall in the entire Langistar. They didn't care about the others at all. Therefore, in their opinion, no one would dare to behave atrociously in their second hall. "Is that so? Looks like you're really courting death." The Crimson Dragon sneered and waved his dragon claw, clawing at the young man. "You're courting death." The young man with a folding fan was also furious. He waved the folding fan in his hand, and a terrifying fragment of the precept rushed out. It was like the sun, illuminating half the sky. Crack! The light blocked the Crimson Dragon's dragon claw. The violent energy caused terrifying cracks to appear in the surrounding void. "You're quite strong, but try this again." The Crimson Dragon's dragon blood surged and struck out again, tearing the light apart. The dragon claw grabbed the young man's body and clenched hard. The young man's bones were all broken. "Ah!" A miserable cry came from the young man with a folding fan. "Damn it! How dare you hurt our young master? The surrounding people's faces changed. The young man with a folding fan was the descendant of an elder. He had a noble status. If anything happened to him, they would be in deep trouble. Haha, looks like we've caught a powerful person. Very well, if you want him to live, do as we say. Chapter 34:25. Lead the way. Go to that elder Huinuen's place of seclusion. Otherwise, I'll kill him and destroy his soul. As the dark rainbow dragon said this, the killing intent on its body became even stronger. Lin Xian stood there and did not make a move at all. There was no need for him to deal with such a small fry. The surrounding warriors looked at each other. For a moment, they were in a dilemma. At this moment, the young man with the folding fan held by the dragon claw said with difficulty, "Lead them there." "All right, follow me." After the warriors of the second hall heard this, they led the way. They passed through the tall mountains and came to a quiet place. The aura here was completely different from the outside. A few mountains stood there and formed a formation. It was very exquisite. Between the mountains and forests, there were spirit springs and waterfalls. Clouds and mist filled the air. The spiritual qi here was much denser than the outside world. This was truly a treasured land. It seemed that it was indeed the place of a certain elder. "Elder Hunyuan, get out here!" The crimson dragon roared. Its voice was like thunder echoing in the sky. The surrounding void shattered, the birds and beasts in the surroundings flew away, and the waterfalls between the mountains flowed back. However, there was still no one around. It was as if there was no one here at all. Seeing this scene, the crimson dragon sneered. "You want to be a coward? Fine, I'll smash this treasure land and turn it into a land of death." Many shards of Dharma power rushed out of the crimson dragon's body, and lightning surged. The wind and clouds changed. It looked like it really wanted to tear down the treasure land. The surrounding warriors who followed to the second hall all changed their expressions, and their scalps went numb. Who were these people? Weren't they too ruthless? Stop! At this moment, a few figures rushed out from the mountains in the distance. They carried a powerful aura, and a cold voice sounded. "Who dares to cause trouble in the second hall? Get out!" The voice was full of majesty. Was someone finally here? The dark rainbow dragon sneered. "I'm not afraid that you won't come out. I'm the deputy hall master of the 8th hall. Our hall master Lin has come to see Elder Hunyuan." The North Demon stood out and said loudly, "Hall Master Lin?" The experts who came frowned. Their eyes flashed, and one of them said coldly, "Elder Primordial Chaos was in seclusion and couldn't see anyone right now. Hall Master Lin, you should go back and wait." "Humph." Lin Xian smiled. Was it because they couldn't meet him, or because they didn't dare to meet him? A dignified elder actually used despicable means to snatch my weapon. Now that I've come looking for you, you know you're in the wrong and don't dare to come and see me? He was truly shameless to the extreme. How dare you? Courting death. The surrounding experts were all enraged. "Hall Master Lin, I respect you as the 8th Hall Master, which is why I gave you face and spoke nicely to you. But remember, this is the second hall's territory. It's not a place where you can behave atrociously. The strength of your 8th hall is far too lacking compared to our second hall. Not even a tenth of us. You don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. Right now, we'll allow you to leave safely. Otherwise, if we were to really fight, I'm afraid that you, Hall Master Lin, would lose all face." A few of them sneered, not taking Lin Xian seriously at all. The reason for that was because it was as they had said. The second hall was extremely powerful, and the 8th hall was truly nothing in their eyes. "Kid, don't waste your breath on them. Just fight your way in and drag that Elder Hunyuan out." The dark red dragon gritted his teeth. He had long known that these people were up to no good. Hearing this, the surrounding people's faces changed. Elder Hunyuan was not an ordinary elder. He had an extremely prestigious status. The other party's words were obviously a slap to the second hall's face. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared on the mountain peak in the distance. It was a woman in white. She looked like a fairy from the 9 heavens, but her voice was extremely emotionless. You really don't know the difference between life and death. You really dare to behave atrociously in my second palace? Men, chop them up and feed them to the dogs. The woman stood with her hands behind her back, looking at the sky with endless arrogance in her eyes. She was Elder Huanyuan's granddaughter. Hearing the woman in white's words, the surrounding experts of the second hall suddenly burst out with unparalleled light. They were about to attack. The northern demon shouted, "How dare you? Although the second hall is powerful, do you really dare to attack us? Our Hall Master Lin is a peerless genius and the benefactor of the Langistar. If you dare to touch him, are you trying to rebel?" His voice was filled with endless majesty. For a moment, the surrounding people were stunned. The surrounding experts looked at each other in dismay. The woman in white on the mountain peak sneered. Hall Master Lin had rushed here and was very tired. He did not want to be taken advantage of by the 2 deputy hall masters and turned into a puppet by casting an illusion. The person who came killed the 2 deputy hall masters and rescued Hall Master Lin from the illusion. The woman in white let out a sinister smile. What a bunch of idiots. She had many reasons for wanting to kill people. It seemed that from now on, there would be 3 more wandering souls. Who cares if you are Lin Wudi or a peerless genius? You dare to behave atrociously in the second hall? There is only one outcome, and that is death. Damn, what a vicious woman. The northern demon also cursed. The crimson dragon roared, "Kid, did you see that? These people are too despicable. They obviously want to take away our things and kill us. If you don't attack now, you will really become a wandering soul." Attack? All right, I didn't expect it to come to this. However, you asked for it. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. The sword qi on his body was like a mountain that shot into the sky. From afar, it seemed that there were dozens of giant mountains in this blessed land. Attack! In the distance, the woman in white also roared. Immediately, the surrounding experts took a deep breath as if they had made some kind of decision. They quickly moved out. A bolt of lightning streaked across the void and charged forward with a destructive aura. The crimson dragon and the northern demon gasped. Damn it, a sage! Damn it, kid, it's up to you now. We will cheer for you from behind. Damn it, the second hall is too sinister. They immediately sent a sage to attack. It was obvious that they were going to kill them. However, they were not worried. Although the 2 of them were only half-saints, they were qualified to fight against a sage if they attacked with all their strength. More importantly, the person standing in front of them was Lin Xian. If he attacked, they would be very safe. In the face of the terrifying lightning, Lin Xian directly reached out his golden hand. The 5 elemental laws revolved around it, and he grabbed the lightning with his palm. Then he exerted force. The lightning shattered into pieces. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Lin Xian's body was filled with killing intent. Chapter 34:26. Damn it! Just like the rumors say, he has become a sage. The experts from the second hall sucked in a breath of cold air. The weaker ones immediately ran away, while the stronger ones also acted as if they were facing a great enemy. He was a legendary, peerless genius. Now that he had become a sage, they had to treat him with caution. No matter how powerful he is just a new sage. At most, he is on the same level as us. However, we are much more experienced than him. Moreover, we have 3 sages on our side. He definitely won't be able to stop us. The surrounding powerhouses said coldly. Indeed, there were 3 first heaven sages and more than 10 half-sages. They formed a formation in the distance, as if to prevent the other party from escaping. Buzz! The first sage rushed forward. It was the lightning sage who had attacked earlier. At this moment, the lightning on his body became even more violent, turning into countless lightning beasts and condensing into a lightning hammer. It descended from the sky with a terrifying nomological power. Under the attack, it roared crazily. It was a scene of apocalypse. The Crimson Dragon gasped. Damn it, these people are too ruthless. They are all fatal attacks. The North Demon's face was also gloomy. Damn it! How dare they attack our own people? These people are really ruthless. Lin Xian sneered. Fatal attack? However, it was still not enough. He only threw out a slap, and it shattered the hammer of the Thunder God. Then he slapped the sage in half. Boom! Saint blood spilled out in an instant, piercing through the surrounding void. The people around felt their scalps go numb. That combat strength is too strong. He can shatter a sage of the same level with a single attack? Attack together and kill him. The woman in white in the distance shouted angrily, her eyes filled with ruthlessness. As soon as she said that, the 3 sages attacked. One of them turned into an ancient heavenly court and descended from the sky. The lightning on it was terrifying. The other person had the galaxy nomological power on his body. The stars in the sky turned into a small universe and shrouded over. The last person roared at the sky. An abyss appeared under his feet. The nomological power kept circling inside as if it was going to swallow him. The 3 first heaven sages attacked mercilessly, wanting to completely suppress Lin Xian. Lin Xian let out a roar as he looked down on all the mountains. Countless mountains appeared under his feet, densely packed together. A disdainful aura swept across the surroundings. Lin Xian was like a supreme godly king as he looked down. Damn it, this aura! What was going on? In the distance, the 3 sages instantly froze. Their eyes widened, and their bodies began to tremble uncontrollably. The surrounding half-saints fell to their knees with a thud. They were like ancient subjects, worshipping the heavens and earth. Pung, pung, pung. In the end, the 3 first heaven saints also knelt on the ground, although they only knelt on one knee. However, this scene was simply too shocking. The faces of the 3 saints were also filled with terror. They roared at the sky, wanting to break through this aura. However, they used too much strength, and many cracks appeared on their bodies. Blood flowed down, but none of them could stand up under the mountain view. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was like a celestial emperor walking in the sky. With one step, the terrifying sacred domains of the 3 saints shattered continuously. The 3 of them also vomited blood. With one step, he injured Saint. After 3 steps, the 3 saints fell there, having completely lost their combat strength. Ha ha ha! Damn bastard, how dare you attack us? How does it feel now? Does it feel good? The dark red divine dragon immediately leaped over and slapped the 3 sages' mouths. The sky full of dragon shadows slapped the faces of the 3 saints, making buzzing sounds. The surrounding second palace dancers were stunned. They looked at this scene in disbelief. The scene of the saints being slapped in the face was like a dream. Damn it, stop! I'm going to kill you. The 3 saints roared crazily, but under Lin Xian's feet, they could only float and could not resist. The Crimson Dragon sneered and shouted, How dare you shout at me? It seems that you really don't know what kind of situation you are in. At this point, his dragon claws exerted even more force. Blood flowed from the corners of the 3 saints' mouths. However, the bodies of the saints were not something that the Crimson Dragon could destroy. Therefore, the Crimson Dragon's hands hurt after hitting them for a long time. The faces of the 3 saints did not change. Damn it, old thing, your bones are so hard. The Crimson Dragon roared, I'll stomp you to death. As he spoke, he attacked the faces of the 3 saints with his hands and feet, and his dragon tail kept lashing out. At the same time, he said, The 2 of you come and try. It feels good to slap the saints' faces. Lin Xian glanced at them and did not make a move. However, the northern demon stood up. I'll try too. He was already angry. These saints wanted to kill him previously, so how could he hold back now? He rolled up his sleeve and slapped out. His palm turned into a divine tree and slapped the saint's face. He immediately felt a huge shock. At the same time, he exclaimed, "Damn it, it feels so good to slap the saints' faces. I seem to be addicted." They attacked left and right, and the sound of the collision was like thunder. The three saints were so angry that their bodies trembled, and white smoke rose from their heads. "Ah, damn it! I'm going to kill you. Let go of me if you dare, and I'll tear you into pieces." They were really mad. As saints, they were high and mighty, looking down on everything, and everyone looked up to them. But now, two half-saints, two ants, were slapping their faces. As for them, they were actually unable to fight back. This caused them to even have the heart to die. The young man with a folding fan was also terrified when he saw this scene. Previously, he thought that he was the most miserable, but now it seemed that he was much better. But then he screamed in pain. The Crimson Dragon pulled him over with a slap. "And you, how dare you treat us like this before? Have a taste of my dragon claw." As he spoke, he smashed the young man's face. "How dare you?" The woman in white screamed in a sharp voice. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon stopped. They looked at each other, sneered, and continued to slap the faces of the saints. "Damn it, someone kill them!" The woman in white screamed crazily. Powerful figures seemed to appear around her. It seemed that more experts from the second hall had arrived. The Crimson Dragon hurriedly called out to the North Demon and retreated again. This time, Lin Xian made his move. He slapped out with his golden palm and smashed the faces of the three saints. The bodies of the three saints were torn into pieces. The three saints were originally angry and wanted to vent their anger, but after Lin Xian's slap, they lost all their temper. The other party was too powerful. Although they were all saints of the first heaven, the other party's strength far surpassed theirs. In fact, they even suspected that it would be extremely easy for him to kill them. However, it seemed that the other party did not do that. After the other party smashed them into pieces, he directly summoned 3 5-element mountains and suppressed them to the ground. At the next moment, Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the woman in white in front of him. A cold light appeared in his eyes. Chapter 34:27. Lin Xian's gaze enveloped the woman in white, and her heart trembled. "Stop him! Take him down!" she screamed, and the powerhouses around her moved. Lin Xian shouted coldly, turned into a ray of sword chi, and charged forward. Wherever he passed, the saints who attacked were all sent flying. In the next moment, Lin Xian arrived in front of the woman in white. In front of him, the woman in white was scared out of her wits, and her scalp went numb. "He's too powerful. So many powerhouses can't stop him? Damn it, are you all trash? Hurry up and kill him!" The woman in white screamed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You still don't know what's good for you?" He reached out his golden palm and grabbed her neck. "No, damn it, how dare you attack me? My grandfather is Elder Primordial Chaos. You're dead meat if you attack me." As she said that, countless rays of light rushed out of her body as she retreated, forming a battle suit that enveloped her delicate body. "She's Elder Primordial Chaos's granddaughter. That's great." Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. "If I capture this woman, I'm not afraid that the old thing won't come out." He pressed forward, blotting out the sky and completely sealing off the space. The woman in white could not escape at all. "Damn it, break." The woman in white opened her mouth and spat out a jade-green saber. The terrifying saber light carried nomological fragments as it tore through the void. She wanted to shatter the seal on the palm. However, the jade-green saber struck the void and made a shocking collision. However, the backlash caused the long blade to shatter with a loud bang and turn into powder. Uft! The woman in white also spat out a mouthful of blood, and her face was filled with fear. Who is this person? He's too powerful. Her shocking attack didn't even cause a ripple in the hall. Instead, the power caused her to be injured. She wanted to scream and ask for help, but she could not make any sound. A hand reached out and grabbed her neck. It sealed all of her power. At that moment, she was lifted into the air like a doll. How dare you go against me? You can't even withstand a single blow. Lin Xian sneered. He exerted a bit of force, and countless tiny cracks appeared on the white-clothed woman's body. Blood instantly dyed her white dress red. The white-clothed woman's face was filled with terror. She couldn't believe that the other party actually dared to attack her. Would the other party kill her? She didn't know. She was so scared that her whole body was trembling. When the surrounding second hall experts saw this, they screamed crazily. Damn it, stop it! They were really crazy. They didn't expect the other party to be so bold. Lin Wudi, let go of our miss, or I'll tear you to pieces. Are you trying to make the second hall your enemy? Hee hee. Lin Xian sneered in the face of so many crazy roars. Where was that old dog Han Yuan? Tell him to come out. Otherwise, I will destroy her granddaughter's body and soul. At this point, Lin Xian's body emitted a terrifying killing intent, causing the surrounding people's scalps to go numb. They did not doubt that the other party would dare to do so. Sigh. At this moment, an old sigh was heard. Then, a mysterious array formation appeared on the ground between several huge mountains. Then the array formation was torn apart, and an old man appeared on the array formation. Hall, Master Lin, why do you have to do this? After the old man came out, he shook his head and sighed. Greetings, elder. The surrounding experts from the second hall bowed, respectfully. Lin Xian lowered his head and looked at the other party. You are Han Yuan? That's right, I am Han Yuan. Let's talk. Don't hurt my granddaughter. Whoosh whoosh. The dark rainbow dragon and the north demon came to Lin Xian's side. The crimson dragon jumped out. You are Han Yuan, then things will be easy. Hand over the great spear of destruction, and we will let your granddaughter go. Otherwise, your granddaughter will experience the feeling of living a life worse than death. Like an old monster, he laughed. How dare you? Damn it, how dare you? The surrounding experts of the second hall roared crazily. The old man also raised his head, and stars flickered in his eyes. The great spear of destruction is still in use. Hall Master Lin, don't be impatient. I will return it when it's done. Nonsense. Lin Xian snorted coldly. I have already asked Saint Mubai. He doesn't need my great spear of destruction at all. But you still refuse to return it. Do you think I don't know what you are thinking? You are wrong. We are not using the great spear of destruction to communicate with the demonic qi, but for you. Hall Master Lin, you are a peerless genius. The great spear of destruction is a ferocious item. If you keep it for a long time, it will affect your state of mind. Maybe you will become a demon in the end. That will be very bad for you. I am willing to fall into hell and use my remaining life to purify the great spear of destruction. What I am doing is a good thing. Bah, good your head. The crimson dragon jumped up and cursed. You are 2F** King Shameless. If you want to snatch our treasure, just say so. Why did you say that you are doing good things for the world by evolving the demonic qi? Do good things, my ass. Do you believe that I won't cut your old bones into two? The crimson dragon was furious. The northern demon's expression was also gloomy. Lin Xian also shook his head and sneered. I have never seen someone as shameless as you. I have really opened my eyes today. However, it seems that you don't intend to hand over the great spear of destruction. You don't intend to take your granddaughter's life either. Since that's the case, don't blame me. He exerted a little force, and the woman in white immediately screamed in agony. More cracks appeared on her body. Her internal organs were completely shattered. However, under Lin Xian's control, she still maintained her human form. The people around her felt their scalps go numb when they heard her miserable screams. Elder Huanyuan's expression darkened. How dare you attack? An extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. His gaze was like divine fire that instantly pierced through the void. Damn, he's attacking. The crimson dragon was shocked and quickly retreated. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He waved his sleeve, and the 5 elemental laws directly suppressed the attack. Boom! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The mountains and rivers shattered. This collision was too terrifying. Lin Xian's expression also changed. Then he used the stellar revolution to shift the power away. Next to him, the space where the second hall was directly shattered. What? He blocked it. He actually blocked Elder Hunyuan's attack. How is that possible? They were really shocked. Elder Hunyuan was a second heaven sage. Moreover, he was extremely terrifying among the second heaven sages. A second heaven sage could almost suppress a first heaven sage with a raise of his hand. However, the scene in front of them was beyond their expectations. The other party actually blocked the attack of a second heaven sage. And from the looks of it, he was not injured at all. Even Elder Hunyuan was stunned. Has the other party's combat strength already reached such a terrifying level? However, before he could think too much, Lin Xian's cold voice was heard. I see that you wanted to kill me with that attack, just now. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. A golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. He directly used his ocular technique on the woman in white. Ah! The woman in white screamed miserably. How could she block Lin Xian's ocular technique? Chapter 30:428. Damn it, how dare you! Elder Primordial Chaos roared. His power erupted and swept through the 9 heavens. At the same time, he shouted coldly, Explode! A rune appeared between the white-clothed woman's eyebrows, and then it exploded with a loud bang. The huge force directly tore the white-clothed woman into a bloody mist. Lin Xian was also enveloped by the power of the self-explosion. However, the 9-yang divine body released a powerful force that suppressed everything. The self-explosion of a half-step saint was no threat to him at all. Whoosh! At that moment, the sky cracked open, and a black gourd appeared and completely collected the white-clothed woman's bloody mist. Then it was grabbed by a woman. Elder Primordial Chaos was relieved. All the blood had been collected, and there was no threat to her life. It seemed that Elder Primordial Chaos had activated a defense talisman that his granddaughter had left to her body, and then caused the white-clothed woman to self-explode. At the same time, another saint made a move and collected all the bloody mist produced by the white-clothed woman. Although it would greatly damage the white-clothed woman's vitality and foundation, it would at least save her life. Seeing that his granddaughter's life was finally not in danger, Elder Primordial Chaos heaved a sigh of relief. In the next moment, a shocking killing intent burst out from his eyes as he stared at Lin Xian and the other 2. How dare you torture my granddaughter like this? I will let you taste 100 times, no, 10,000 times the pain. I will destroy your souls. More and more powerhouses from the second hall appeared in the sky. In addition to the woman with the black gourd, another figure appeared in the sky. It was a man wearing black armor. He was very domineering as soon as he appeared. I will kill them. With a wave of his hand, endless killing intent swept toward Lin Xian and the other 2. Step back, I will deal with them. Lin Xian said to the Crimson Dragon and the other 2. The 2 of them stepped back. The Crimson Dragon activated the heaven-crippling chessboard, and the Northern Demon used the sky-reaching divine wood to defend himself. As for Lin Xian, he let out a long roar and punched out. His punch shattered the 9 heavens, shattering all the killing intent that filled the sky. Countless large cracks spread between heaven and earth. A mere early-stage second heaven saint wants to suppress me? What a joke! Let that old dog Primordial Chaos do it himself, or you will have no hope. How is that possible? He's so powerful. The black-armored man was also stunned. He was indeed a second heaven sage. And Elder Primordial Chaos was at the late-stage second heaven saint, however. Even if he was in the early stage, he was not someone a first firmament saint could withstand. If he wanted to kill a saint in the late stage of the first firmament, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. not to mention a kid who had just become a saint. But the result of the battle surprised him greatly. Could it be that the kid had some kind of magic treasure on him? Primordial chaos, Saint Primordial Chaos, snatch chaoses. Lin Xian was thoroughly enraged right now as he struck out without any reservations. Very well, let me see just how miraculous a legendary, peerless genius like you is. The black-armored man stood up and his aura exploded. That was just a casual attack from me. Next up, I'll use my full strength. I'll let you know that even if you're a peerless genius in the face of absolute power, you'll still have to bow down. The black-armored man was brimming with confidence. He was like a black god of war, looking disdainfully at everyone. Although he was shocked by the scene just now, he had already calmed down. After he used his full strength, the other party would definitely not be able to block it. Lin Xian laughed. Someone like you dares to talk about absolute power in front of me? What a joke. I will let you know that you are nothing but a joke in front of me. With a cold shout, Lin Xian charged forward. He was like streaks of golden sword light that split the world apart, courting death. The black-armored man shouted coldly and pressed his palm down. Suddenly, the black runes jumped and turned into a demonic mountain that descended from the sky. At this moment, everyone retreated in horror. Elder Primordial Chaos stomped his foot and the government lit up. That was why no major destruction was caused. Otherwise, if the two of them had attacked, the second palace would have been reduced to ashes. Clang! An earth-shattering collision rang out as Lin Xian was sent flying, while the black palm was also sent flying. The two of them seemed to be evenly matched. Many people screamed at the sight of this. If the black-armored man was careless and did not use his full strength before, Lin Xian had an opportunity to take advantage of. But now, how could this be explained? The black-armored man had obviously used his full strength, but he was unable to instantly kill Lin Xian. The two of them were evenly matched. This was too unbelievable. A young man who had just become a saint had combat strength comparable to an early-stage second heaven saint? Wasn't this too terrifying? As expected of someone who had two great inheritances, he was truly heaven-defying. Many powerhouses felt their scalps go numb. The black-armored man also frowned. 5 elemental laws. No wonder you are so powerful. I didn't expect you to be able to cultivate the 5 elemental laws. However, it's a pity that you're still going to die against me. At this point, an extremely terrifying black light flashed in the black-armored man's eyes. In the next moment, the aura on his body skyrocketed. A ball of black flames surged out. It was obvious that he had made up his mind to kill, because the other party was too terrifying. Since he had already become an enemy of the second palace, he had to go out. Although the other party was a peerless genius and the future hope of the Langistar, so what? Just as the Crimson Dragon had said before, the Langistar was not a monolithic piece of metal. If this kid cooperated and was willing to hand over the spear of great destruction, then it would be fine. But he was too reckless. But since the other party was so reckless, there was no need for such a genius to live. At this moment, the black-dressed woman next to him was also a Dao. She could be captured alive. Don't forget that he had 2 great inheritances. He might even know the whereabouts of the great emperor's inheritance. Obviously, they were all targeting Lin Xian, especially the great emperor's inheritance. How dare you guys target me? You really don't know what's good for you. Fine, I'll let you guys see what I can do. The 5 elemental laws flew out from Lin Xian's body and turned into a 5 elemental divine sword that he held in his hand. He slashed out with the sword, sweeping in all directions. The terrifying sword intent caused the surrounding people to almost faint from fright. The black-armored man also roared angrily. The black flames on his body jumped and turned into a long black blade that slashed out. In an instant, the blade and sword collided and the world rumbled. The power of the ocean soared into the sky. This scene was so terrifying that it made the people of the second palace tremble in fear. Buzz! Buzz. In the sky, countless arrays lit up, completely covering the second palace. It seemed that they wanted to isolate all auras to prevent others from coming to save Lin Xian. Chapter 30, 429. Oh no, these people from the second hall are too despicable. They actually sealed the entire area. I'm afraid we won't be able to escape. The Crimson Dragon's expression changed. However, an angry roar came from the front. They hurriedly looked forward, afraid that Lin Xian would be injured. But soon, they were stunned and then heaved a sigh of relief. The others screamed. That's impossible. That was because the one who was injured was not Lin Xian, but the black-armored man. The black-armored man's black armor had been cut open. Not only that, but there was also a gash on his body, revealing deep white bones. He's injured. The black-armored man had been injured in the battle with Lin Xian. Moreover, he had been injured within 4 or 5 moves. How could Lin Xian be so powerful? That's impossible. The black-armored man roared crazily. He knew that Lin Xian had a strong physique, powerful attacks, and 2 great inheritances. But so what? Lin Xian was at most a level 1 king. But at the second heaven? The difference in the laws of heaven and earth was enough to make up for those inheritances. Previously, in his opinion, Lin Xian's strength was largely due to the Spear of Destruction, a peerless weapon. Now that Lin Xian did not have the Spear of Destruction, his combat strength would definitely be greatly reduced. No matter how strong he was, he would not be able to do anything to him. However, he realized that he was wrong. Lin Xian was still incomparably powerful. A few simple sword strikes had broken through his defense. Seeing the other party's flustered and exasperated look, Lin Xian sneered. I told you, you don't have the right to talk about absolute power in front of me. It's already good enough that you can keep your life. Let that old dog Primordial Chaos do it. Otherwise, you won't be a match at all. What arrogance! Suddenly, the woman in the black dress made her move. She took out a black jade bottle and directly threw it out in the air. The black jade bottle was covered with Dao patterns. As soon as the laws appeared, they swept Lin Xian and kept him inside. In the next moment, the woman in the black dress held the jade screen and laughed. What peerless genius! You've been kept by me. In my black jade bottle, you'll turn into a pool of blood in less than 5 minutes. Oh no, another second heaven saint. The expressions of the Crimson Dragon and the North Devil changed. Damn it, how despicable and shameless. You 2 saints of the second heaven actually attacked at the same time. Where is your face? The Crimson Dragon roared crazily. Northern Demon also snorted coldly. How despicable. This brat is too strange and he is famous. He is a peerless genius. The fact that we, 2 saints of the second heaven, attacked him shows that we take him seriously. Don't make a fuss because I will send you to the Yellow Springs record very soon. The 3 of you won't be lonely on the road to the Yellow Springs. The black-dressed woman raised her palm, and the laws quickly gathered. She was also an early-stage second heaven saint. If she wanted to kill the North Demon and the Crimson Dragon, it would be a piece of cake. Not good. Prepare to break out. At the very least, he had to find Mu Bai, or else Lin Xian would really be in danger. The Dark Rainbow Dragon and the North, Yao had made up their minds. They decided to break through. Humph, do you think you can leave? No one will know that you are going to die here. The black-armored man sneered and stomped his foot, suppressing the surroundings and sealing the surrounding space. Not good. She is too strong. We can't break through a second heaven saint. The North Devil frowned, and the Crimson Dragon farmer was also anxious. If you push me too far, Ben Huang will die together with you. Ha ha, die you 2 ants. The black-dressed woman reached out her hand, getting closer and closer to the Crimson Dragon farmer. If she caught them, they would not be able to escape. However, at this moment, the black jade bottle in her right hand suddenly exploded. The terrifying power caused half of the black-dressed woman's body to explode, turning her into a bloody mist. Ah! The black-dressed woman screamed crazily. Her left hand, which was originally reaching out, stopped in midair. What happened? The black-armored man was stunned. Mang then turned his head. The people of the second hall gasped. Elder Huinyuan's eyelids also twitched. Did something happen? You want to trap me with a broken bottle? You think too highly of yourself. Lin Xian flew out from the broken bottle, his body glowing brightly. Like the sun war god, his eyes were filled with disdain. It seems like you've lived for too long and don't know the changes in the world. Hurry up and get lost. All of you are no match for me. If you dare to move again, this young master will slaughter all of you. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with a strong killing intent. Courting death. The woman in the black dress recovered and charged over as if she had gone mad. In addition, the black-armored man also charged over. They didn't believe that the two of them wouldn't be able to take down their opponent. Damn, how shameless. If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. That's right. 2 second heavenly layer sages, joining hands to deal with a young junior. You guys are really embarrassing yourselves. The North Demon and Anhong roared, but it was to no avail. Clearly, these 2 second-tier saints were determined to kill Lin Xian. Around them, the people from the second hall sneered. They knew that with 2 saints in the second heaven, the other party would definitely die. Fire, spirit, heavenly saber. The black-armored man wielded a black flaming saber and struck out a terrifying saber light. As the laws of fire danced, it shook the heavens and the earth. 9 revolutions of rain. The woman in the black dress continued to dance as endless nomological laws formed 9 black gourds that formed an array formation that enveloped Lin Xian. From the looks of it, he wanted to refine Lin Xian alive. Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng movement technique and dodged quickly. At the same time, he waved his palm. Stellar transposition. Under his mystique, the power of the 2 second-tier saints underwent a shocking change. The terrifying black saber light brought with it an extremely strong power of laws. It didn't attack Lin Xian, but slashed towards the woman in the black dress. The woman in the black dress transformed into 9 black gourds and enveloped the black-armored man. In an instant, the 2 of them screamed and retreated crazily. Damn it, how dare you attack me? Damn it, aren't you trying to refine me? What's going on? The surrounding people were stunned. Why was Lin Xian fine? Their 2 saints had both been injured? This scene was too bizarre. Even the dark red divine dragon and the dark red divine dragon were stunned. They sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my heavens, what kind of technique is this kid using? It wasn't the 9 sons' inheritance or the great dragon sword soul. Could it be that he had obtained something else? Perhaps it was Brother Lin's new mystique. The North Demon was also shocked. Below, Elder Hunyuan frowned. What are you 2 doing? Hurry up and take him down. Yes. The 2 of them took a deep breath, and a cold light burst out from their eyes. This time, they separated a little. Once again, they used the same mystique and attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. They didn't know what was good for them. Chapter 3430. Star Shift. This time, Lin Xian diverted the attacks from the 2 of them to the ground. Their target was Elder Primordial Chaos. Elder Primordial Chaos's expression changed instantly. He slapped out with both palms, which turned into 2 mountains that blasted towards the sky. Instantly, a terrifying energy rumbled. This power was too violent. It was equivalent to 3 saints in the second heaven fighting. The surrounding experts of the second hall were all sent flying. Many people turned into a bloody mist. Even the saints' bodies were shattered. Screams rang out. At the same time, they were extremely terrified. What happened? Did Lin Wudi attack their Elder Primordial Chaos? Elder Primordial Chaos shattered the storm and shouted coldly. Damn it! How dare the 2 of you attack me? What's going on? The black-armored man and the black-dressed woman in the sky were stunned. They were clearly attacking that kid. Why was Elder Primordial Chaos attacked? We didn't attack you. The two of them wanted to explain. Lin Xian sneered. Can't you see? Old Dog Primordial Chaos. Your subordinates don't like you. They want to kill you and take the opportunity to rise to the top. The people of the second hall are all so despicable and shameless. Therefore, it's not surprising that your subordinates betrayed you. What? As soon as these words were said, the surrounding second hall people were all stunned. Could it be that there was an internal conflict in the second hall? Elder Primordial Chaos's face was gloomy, but the black-armored man and the black-dressed woman's expressions changed. Damn kid, you're courting death. Elder, that's not what we meant. We don't have any intention of attacking you. Although they were both level 2 saints, they were only in the early stage. Elder Primordial Chaos was in the late stage. The gap between the two of them was very large. The two of them couldn't withstand Elder Primordial Chaos's attack, even if they joined forces. Therefore, the two of them didn't dare to act rashly. Elder Primordial Chaos naturally understood this. He snorted coldly. Back down. This kid is too strange. I'll deal with him personally. At this point, the laws on his body appeared. Not good. The dark rainbow divine dragon and the northern demon were nervous again. Lin Xian also frowned. He could clearly sense that the aura and laws on the other party's body were much more terrifying than the black-armored man and the black-dressed woman. Ordinary means would not be able to stop it. He wanted to bring out the great dragon sword and engage in an epic battle with his opponent. Boom! Elder Hunyuan made her move. She blasted out an illusory palm. A terrifying power enveloped Lin Xian completely. Lin Xian's hair stood on end. With a roar, he prepared to fight for his life. However, at this moment, the formation between the heaven and earth shattered. The void was torn apart as a finger pointed down. He tapped on the gigantic illusory palm, and instantly the gigantic illusory palm was knocked back. In the next moment, endless nomological laws drifted out as a figure appeared before Lin Xian. Primordial Chaos, are you crazy? How dare you attack Hall Master Lin? A cold, questioning voice rang out. The North Demon Core Crimson Dragon heaved a sigh of relief. Great. Someone had finally come to save them. Lin Xian was also stunned because the person who came was none other than Sage Mu Bai. Sage Mu Bai was stunned. To be honest, he could not believe that the people of the second hall would attack Lin Xian. And from the looks of it, they wanted to kill him. He could not believe it. One had to know that not only did Lin Xian solve the crisis of the Langistar, but he also joined the Langistar and received their full support. He was the future hope of the Langistar. But now, the people inside the Langistar wanted to kill this hope. He could not believe it at all. He thought that Elder Hunyuan and the others were crazy. Sage Mu Bai's appearance was so sudden that even Elder Hunyuan was stunned. This should not be. They had used a supreme formation to isolate all auras, and no one else could detect it. How did Old Man Mu Bai know? However, since the other party was here, he did not continue to attack. Instead, he retracted his palm and said, "You have to ask Hall Masterlin about this. He was the one who came here for no reason at all. Furthermore, he beat up my granddaughter to the point where I don't know if she's dead or alive. I am already giving him face by not killing him immediately." Hearing this, Sage Mu Bai frowned and looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered, "How shameless! How dare you complain first? Who took my great spear of destruction? Who was greedy for my inheritance? Who was the one who came in and tried to kill me indiscriminately? Everything I did was just to defend myself. Is the second hall really trying to twist the truth and cover the truth?" Sage Mu Bai's face changed when he heard this. Great spear of destruction. Previously, when Lin Xian came to him, he felt that the situation was not right. However, Lin Xian did not ask him to take action at that time. He also felt that they were all from the Langistar, and Lin Xian was now the hope of the Langistar. No one would attack him again. Perhaps it was a misunderstanding, so he did not follow. However, after waiting for a long time, he felt a little uneasy, so he wanted to follow and take a look. However, when he came near the second hall, he realized that the entire second hall was covered by a formation. He could not detect the aura inside. This made him feel that something was wrong. Therefore, he made a prompt decision to break the formation and charge in. He happened to see the scene just now. Therefore, he immediately took action. He really did not expect that the people of the second hall would dare to attack Lin Xian. Moreover, they dared to covet Lin Xian's great spear of destruction. Elder Mu Bai, this is a misunderstanding. The man in black armor walked forward and said in a deep voice, "The demonic aura on the great spear of destruction was too terrifying. Our teacher, Master Mu Bai, took it for Hall Master Lin's sake. He wanted to suppress the demonic aura on it to ensure Hall Master Lin's safety in the future. Indeed, the second hall had good intentions, but Hall Master Lin did not seem to appreciate it." The woman in black also walked forward. "Damn, you are still so shameless at this point?" The Crimson Dragon was so angry that he shouted, "Who allowed you to seal it? Can't we find Saint Mu Bai to suppress the seal? Do we need you? We know who you are." Yes, the Northern Demon also took a step forward. "Even if there is a problem with the Great Spear of Destruction, we can ask Saint Mu Bai and the Langya Palace Lord to help. We have no interest in the second hall at all, so hurry up and hand over the Great Spear of Destruction." Lin Xian sneered. "Elder Mu Bai, do you understand now why I have to take action? Some people are really too trashy and despicable. I have to take action. Otherwise, the Langistar will be contaminated by these vermin." Hearing this, Saint Mu Bai's face darkened. He already understood what was going on. Therefore, he looked at Primordial Chaos. Chapter 34-31. Elder Hunyuan, please take out the Great Spear of Destruction. Saint Mu Bai said coldly. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Saint Mu Bai was on their side. The people from the second hall changed their expressions. Elder Hunyuan's gaze also darkened. "Unfortunately, the Great Spear of Destruction is not in my hands." "Not in your hands? Then who has it?" Saint Mu Bai frowned. Elder Hunyuan said, "It's in the hands of our left guardian." "The left guardian of the second hall." Saint Mu Bai frowned. This was an existence of a higher level than Elder Primordial Chaos. He was very powerful in the second hall. However, so what if he was powerful? He would protect Lin Xian today. Therefore, he said coldly, "Where's the left guardian? Ask him to come out and see me." Unfortunately, the left guardian left the Langistar some time ago and seemed to be looking for something. How long will it take for him to come back? Elder Hunyuan said with a smile, "Damn it, it seems that you don't want to return it to us." The Crimson Dragon jumped out again. "Old man, you're really shameless." Lin Xian was also angry. He snorted coldly. "You don't have to care about this matter. I'll do it myself. Since you don't want to come out, I'll beat you until you hand it over." The aura that erupted from Lin Xian's body was extremely terrifying. "You've been evading me time and time again. Do you really think that I'm easy to bully? Why? Do you want to attack me? Hall Master Lin, I admit that you're very powerful, but you don't even have a 10% chance of winning against me." Elder Hunyuan sneered. He was a late-stage, second heaven expert. He was definitely not afraid of Lin Xian. "Is that so? You can try." Lin Xian's aura was even more terrifying. Buzz. In the next moment, he directly attacked. A sword chi with the 5 elements, law, soared into the sky and slashed towards Elder Hunyuan. "You're courting death." Elder Hunyuan roared angrily. Lin Xian actually dared to attack him. It was really infuriating him. He felt that he had been insulted. Boom! Elder Hunyuan's body emitted light, and the law flowed, turning into a huge mountain, and rushed forward. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Primordial chaos. Do you really want to fight in front of me? Elder Mubai walked out as well. Right? Then I would like to experience it for myself. Elder Hunyuan did not hold back and directly attacked Elder Mubai. Suddenly, the two great divine abilities clashed together, and the terrifying energy blasted the surroundings. Those people retreated one after another. The experts of the second hall were all staring at Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian coldly snorted and directly attacked the woman in black. He was courting death. The woman in the black dress shot out 9 black gourds, which quickly wrapped around Lin Xian. However, this time Lin Xian was truly enraged. The 9-yang divine body shone brightly, and the great dragon's sword soul burst into laughter. He also used stellar transposition to the extreme. Thus, he was able to injure the black-dressed woman in a few moves. The black-dressed woman spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Her face was filled with shock. How was this possible? Previously, he was still able to fight to a draw with his opponent, but now he was actually no match for his opponent. What was going on? Could it be that his opponent did not use his full strength earlier? When he thought of this possibility, he was so scared that he almost fainted. Crack! Lin Xian attacked again. He transformed into a 5 elements coiling dragon and directly suppressed the black-dressed woman. Then he snatched the other party's storage ring. With a forceful twist, he took out a black gourd from the storage ring. No, the black-dressed woman screamed crazily. That black gourd was not ordinary. It was not an offensive artifact. Instead, it was the gourd that he had used to collect the woman's blood. At this moment, it was snatched away by his opponent. Who knew what kind of crazy thing he would do? That was why she screamed crazily. However, in the next moment, he was stomped into pieces by Lin Xian. Damn it, put down that gourd. The black dress was torn apart, but the black-armored man still charged over. He would not let Lin Xian succeed. The black armor on his body emitted a black light. Monstrous flames burned fiercely and tightly wrapped around his body. Not only that, but black flame arms also appeared on his body. It was extremely strange. They carried a monstrous aura. Those arms were holding long black sabers and long swords. They carried an incomparably ferocious aura. Kill! The black-armored man charged over crazily. At this moment, he was very powerful and could even fight with an early-stage second firmament saint. However, unfortunately, he was still no match for Lin Xian. Lin Xian used stellar transposition. The sabers and swords in those strange arms directly attacked the black-armored man. The black-armored man was split into 3 parts and screamed in pain in the air. "Old dog, if you don't stop, your granddaughter will die." Su Qin shouted coldly and grabbed the black gourd with one hand. The law of ruthlessness turned into a divine chain and wrapped around the black gourd. A miserable scream came from the black gourd and transformed into a vicious face. It was the woman in white from before. "Grandpa, save me." Below, after Elder Hunyuan heard this, his body immediately swayed and he quickly retreated to the back. He did not make a move. He raised his head and looked forward. His expression became incomparably ferocious. "Damn it, Dai." An extremely terrifying white light emitted from his body, like a spider web or an immortal net. It charged towards Lin Xian. "Oh no, Hallmaster Lin Dodge." Saint Mubai also shouted angrily. He raised his hand and turned it into a long rainbow, cutting off a few of them. However, there were still 3 that rushed towards Lin Xian. In an instant, he felt a chill run down his spine. Needless to say, this was an extremely terrifying method. If one was entangled, the consequences would be unimaginable. He used the Kuin Peng technique, and the shadow of a Kuin Peng appeared on his body. He instantly moved horizontally. I missed? Elder Huanyuan's pupils constricted in disbelief. He did not hold back in that attack, just now. Those in the second firmament could not escape at all, but the other party had completely dodged it. Damn it, put down my granddaughter. Fine. Hand over the great spear of destruction, and I'll spare your granddaughter's life. I've said that the great spear of destruction is not with me, but with the left protector. If you don't believe me, you can search for it. You can also search through my storage ring. If you can find my cave abode, I'll admit defeat. Since that's the case, get the left protector over here. Lin Xian shouted coldly. However, Elder Hunyuan snorted coldly. I don't know where the left protector is. So, hurry up and let my granddaughter go. Then there's nothing to talk about. A cold light burst out from Lin Xian's eyes. The great dragon sword spirit appeared in his hand, forming a terrifying sword chi that pierced through the black gourd. Poof! The black gourd was shrouded by thousands of sword chi and was directly cut into powder. The white-robed woman inside was also cut into a bloody mist. One of the souls tried to escape, but it was cleaved into two by Lin Xian's sword. Then it was cut into pieces. No. The woman in white let out a blood-curdling scream before vanishing into thin air. Dead? Their elder's granddaughter was killed on the spot, and her soul was destroyed. The people from the second hall widened their eyes, and their scalps went numb. Saint Mu Bai also cried out in his heart. Oh no, Lin Xian is too reckless. Kid, I want you dead. I want you to be cut into pieces. As expected, Elder Hunyuan's eyes instantly turned red. The monstrous killing intent turned into a boundless sea of blood that surged in the 9 heavens. Chapter 34-32. You dare to kill me? Therefore, I will make you kneel in front of my granddaughter's grave for 10,000 years. Every day, you will receive thousands of arrows piercing your heart. Elder Hunyuan's vicious voice rang out. Everyone who heard it felt their scalps go numb. They knew that Elder Hunyuan was really angry. Moreover, he had an extremely strong killing intent. It was an extremely unwise choice to offend such a late-stage second heaven elder. This Lin Xian was definitely going to die. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You are wrong. The culprit is not me, but you. It is your greed that caused your granddaughter's death. Moreover, I will tell you that if you do not hand over the great destruction spear, I will make your subordinates your people and you all perish. I, Lin Xian, am a man of my words. Someone like you dares to threaten me? Kid, I will kill you first. Elder Hunyuan rushed over, bringing with him a monstrous blood aura. The nomological laws on his body were dyed red. It was abnormally terrifying. Elder Mubai rushed over, wanting to stop him. However, Elder Hunyuan shouted coldly, Damn it, if you dare to stop me, I will not let you off. You killed my granddaughter. Today, no matter what, I will not let you off. However, Elder Mubai did not back down. Instead, he said, Hall Master Lin, leave first. I will help you stop him. We will talk about this when we return. Speaking of this, he sighed. You are too reckless. Although I know you are anxious, there are other ways to solve this matter. However, Lin Xian said in a low voice, There are other ways to solve this matter? I can't wait. To be honest, Elder Mubai, I am very disappointed. I joined the Lang Yastar because I felt that the Lang Yastar could provide me with support. However, I am really disappointed now. I did not expect that there would be people in the Lang Yastar who are plotting against me. Moreover, they are still unrepentant. They still want to kill me? This is intolerable. If this matter is not handled well, I will leave the Lang Yastar. What? Elder Mubai was taken aback by Lin Xian's words. He did not expect Lin Xian to be so angry. Moreover, he even said such words. If Lin Xian really left the Lang Yastar, they would undoubtedly suffer a huge loss. They might even offend a young great emperor. Therefore, he said, Hall Master Lin, don't worry. The Lang Yastar will not ignore this matter. I will report to the princess and ask the Law Enforcement Hall to investigate. Law Enforcement Hall? Elder Mubai, it's not that I don't trust you, but I don't trust the second hall. I believe that with the second hall's strength, they will frame me instead. Therefore, to solve this matter today, Elder Mubai, you don't have to worry about me. A mere second heaven sage is nothing to me. Elder Mubai sneered coldly, looking down on me. He really didn't know how to live. Do you really think that you are the reincarnated? I'll let you know how powerful I am. Lin Xian also let out a long howl. Old dog Han Yuan? Aye. If he lost, he would kneel, kowtow, apologize, or commit suicide. Also, tell us where the left protector is. Brat, you are courting death. Elder Han Yuan was furious. He was called an old dog left and right by the other party. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. But soon he smiled sinisterly. Lin Fan dared to challenge him. He was really courting death. Mubai, did you hear that? It is not that I want to fight. This brat is courting death and provoking me. As an elder, if I don't respond, how can I stand in the second hall? Hall Master Lin? Elder Mubai was also worried. Although Lin Xian was strong and could defeat the black-armored man, Elder Mubai was obviously different. He was an expert in the advanced stage of the second heaven. His strength was extremely terrifying. He looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved his hand. Don't worry. Since I dare to accept the challenge, I am 100% confident. Today, I will make this old dog kneel in front of me and kowtow to me. All right, I know. Then, let's activate the ancient arena. Elder Mubai took a deep breath. Now that things had developed to this point, there was bound to be a battle between the two. If he stopped him, there would be more unexpected accidents. Therefore, he could only watch. If Lin Xian were to encounter any danger at that time, he would step in and save him. Are you kidding me? You want to play big? The Crimson Dragon and the others were also shocked. Elder Mubai sneered. Let's see how you will die later. How will I die? It seems that you have lived for too long. Do you really think that a saint in the advanced stage of the second heaven can suppress me? I can only tell you that you don't know my true strength. Later, I will make you kneel in front of me and kowtow to me. You are just stubborn. When I catch you later, I will torture you 1,000 times, 10,000 times. No one can save you. Elder Primordial Chaos descended. The ground below churned as a huge ancient battle platform appeared. This was used by the saints in ancient times to battle. The arena was covered with the marks of time. It was also stained with the blood of countless saints. It carried a monstrous and solemn aura. Come on, Aunt. I will let you know the consequences of provoking me. Elder Han Yuan descended from the sky with a terrifying aura. On the other side, Lin Xian was like a god of war. He descended quickly and shattered the surrounding area. His eyes were filled with an unparalleled battle intent. Today, he would let everyone know that no one could bully him. Lin Xian, even a saint in the advanced stage of the second heaven, could not casually provoke him. The surrounding people all sucked in a breath of cold air and watched carefully. The people from the second hall were still in a daze. They did not expect that a young man would dare to fight with their elder. Where did he get his courage from? The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon were also worried. Kid, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. If you can't win, run. Elder Mubai's expression was even more serious. He was ready to save Lin Xian. Kid, go to hell. After seeing Lin Xian descend, Elder Mubai could not wait any longer. He slapped out with his palm. Elder Primordial Chaos cultivated the limitless chaos art. His law was called the Limitless Law. It was a little like clouds and mist. It was incomparably ethereal. It was also a little like a gust of wind. It was extremely strange. At this moment, when his palm struck out, the law on it carried an extremely terrifying sharpness and a faintly discernible illusory aura. It quickly swept towards Lin Xian. What law was this? It was so strange. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon also exclaimed. They felt an extremely terrifying aura shrouding them. However, they realized that the aura was not real. It was as if they were dreaming. In fact, they were even killed in an instant. This old dog was indeed powerful. They wondered if that kid could block it. The two of them were worried. Lin Xian sneered. His body shook as he directly used the Kuan Peng technique and rushed out quickly. Chapter 34-33. Lin Xian's movement technique was so exquisite that it created countless afterimages in an instant. Every step he took was at the weakest point of the other party's laws, so he narrowly avoided the illusory palm. What? He dodged it? The people of the second hall screamed. Even Elder Hunyuan was taken aback, and his face darkened. The other party's speed had become even faster than before. He kept attacking with his palm, wanting to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, used the 5 elemental laws. The 5 elemental laws were the laws of the 5 elements. It was very terrifying. It could be used together, and it could also display the characteristics and power of the 5 elemental laws. After Lin Xian attacked, he used the characteristics of the earth law. Suddenly, a huge mountain appeared in the void. It was incomparably heavy, and it pressed forward, wanting to crush everything. This power was simply too terrifying. Cracks began to appear on the Wuji giant hand of void around him. Kill! He roared, and the 5 elemental laws transformed into a sword of laws. He held it in his hand, and the great dragon's sword soul also came out and merged with the sword of laws. With a slash of the sword, a terrifying sword light swept across the 9 heavens. In an instant, the surrounding illusory palm prints were shattered. Limitless demonic cloud slash. Elder Hunyuan attacked. His palms were like rivers of blood, and they came down from the sky. The limitless law carried an extremely strong killing intent, and it swept through the 9 heavens. It was terrifying. The Crimson Divine Dragon and the others exclaimed. Even though they were so far away, they could still feel a heart-wrenching power. One could imagine what kind of situation Lin Xian was facing. Buzz! The limitless demonic cloud slash shattered countless afterimages, but it did not hit Lin Xian's real body. However, this terrifying demonic light had already forced Lin Xian into a space. Therefore, Elder Hunyuan sneered and attacked again. It was the limitless demonic cloud slash again. This was an attack formed by the fusion of the limitless law and the monstrous blood aura. This supernatural power is terrifying. Streaks of blood-red light were illusory, but they were filled with a murderous aura. Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng technique and dodged the light blades of the limitless demonic cloud before rushing over. The sword of laws in his hand opened and closed, instantly sending out dozens of dragon-shaped sword chi. Each of them looked like a true dragon as they charged forward. Boom! Boom! The loud dragon roar and the terrifying 5 elemental laws caused the people of the second palace to tremble in fear. Even Elder Hunyuan's expression changed. He let out a roar and spat out the limitless demonic cloud once again. It swept out like a waterfall. Those boundless demonic clouds did not turn into light blades. Instead, they seemed to have formed a large net with the intention of enveloping the several tens of dragon-shaped sword chis. However, he had underestimated the power of the sword chi. Each of the sword chi was extremely terrifying. In an instant, his boundless demonic cloud net was torn to shreds. Kill! Lin Xian roared as he became one with his sword. A terrifying power swept through the 9 heavens as he charged towards Elder Primordius. The sword slashed at Elder Primordius. Elder Primordius used the limitless demonic cloud to wrap his body and form a battle armor. However, he was still sent flying. Boom! He even spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. Ah! Damn, Junior, go to hell! Elder Primordius was completely enraged. He had been careless. The strength of his opponent was beyond his imagination. In the next moment, the terrifying killing intent in his body swept through the 9 heavens. At this moment, he had gone crazy. He was like a demon king. I won't hold back against you any more. Die for me. Limitless universe. A very strange mark flew out from all directions, as if it could destroy the world. It was too terrifying. The black-armored man and the black-dressed woman both prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling. They knew that Elder Primordius was using an extremely terrifying, great superpower. Even Saint Mubai's face was pale. He mobilized the power of the laws in his body, ready to help at any time. Because he knew that Lin Xian would not be able to block this move. Lin Xian let out a long roar. Stellar transposition. His hand drew a strange arc, and the two limitless seal that were close to him were sent flying and blasted into the surroundings. Boom! This force exploded beside Elder Primordius, causing him to spit out blood and fly backward. He was completely dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did this force explode beside him? Didn't he attack the other party? What? The surrounding people were even more shocked. Elder Mubai also gasped. He did not even know what had just happened. What kind of technique was that? He had never seen it before. No wonder Lin Xian dared to challenge Elder Primordius. His technique was too amazing. Damn kid, what kind of despicable technique did you use? The cracks on Elder Primordius's body quickly healed. His expression was extremely ugly. Despicable technique? Humph. Why don't you say that you are ignorant and can't even see what kind of superpower I used? How dare an old dog like you be so arrogant in front of me? What a joke. This world no longer belongs to you. So hurry up and kneel down and kill yourself to atone for your sins. You want me to admit defeat? You are too weak. Buzz. Elder Primordius roared and took out a transparent jade seal. That was the limitless seal. It was a sacred artifact. Once the limitless seal was taken out, a terrifying power swept through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Elder Primordius's nomological laws became even more terrifying. Oh no, that was a sacred artifact. Damn it, this old fart actually had a sacred artifact. The Crimson Dragon screamed. The North Demon also gasped. He naturally knew how great a boost a sacred artifact could give to a sage. It could definitely surpass those of the same level and reach an unbelievable combat strength. Oh no! Lin Xian no longer had the great spear of destruction. This way, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. Sure enough, Elder Mubai's expression also changed. He originally thought that Lin Xian should have a chance of winning, but now his heart had once again sunk to the bottom of the valley. Lin Xian's technique was strange. However, Elder Primordius's strength was even more terrifying. Originally, Elder Primordius was a veteran second heaven expert with rich experience and many superpowers. At this moment, he took out a sacred artifact. His combat strength had definitely reached an unbelievable level. It was estimated that Lin Xian's chances of winning were very slim. It could almost be said that there was no chance. It was a sacred artifact. That was great. Ha 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 ha. Elder Primordius was serious. Let's see how that kid will die. The powerhouses of the second hall also regained their hope. Kid, do you know what the weapon in my hand is? Let me tell you, this is a sacred artifact. Do you know the power of a sacred artifact? Now, even if you kneel down and kowtow to me, I will not spare you. I will make you wish you were dead. I will let you know the consequences of offending me. What peerless genius! You are still too inexperienced. Chapter 34:34. A sacred artifact? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. His eyes shone with a cold light. The great dragon sword soul rushed out of his body and was held in his hand, forming a green dragon sword. Let me have a taste of your saint artifact's power. Lin Xian's aura became extremely terrifying. It was not inferior to a sacred artifact. The expressions of the second hall's experts changed, and they looked at Lin Xian with fear. Damn it, this aura. They stared at the dragon-shaped sword. What a terrifying sword shadow, as expected of a saint spell of the world. The great dragon sword soul. Elder Huanyuan's face also darkened. He knew that he could not wait any longer, and immediately attacked. The Wu Ji seal blasted out, and its terrifying power suppressed the surroundings as it blasted toward Lin Xian. Even a second heaven sage would be blasted into a bloody mist by this attack. Damn it! This old dog strength was much stronger than before. The Crimson Dragon was anxious. The North Demon also looked solemn. Yes, it was indeed a sacred artifact. Lin Xian took a step forward and waved the great dragon sword soul. He was not afraid in the face of the opponent's sacred artifact. Even if he did not have the great spear of destruction, he would let the opponent know that even if the opponent had a sacred artifact, he would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. The great dragon sword soul in his hand roared in all directions, turned into a peerless sword light, and slashed out. Boom! The two collided, and the explosive power was too terrifying. The second hall's experts were all bleeding from their ears, and they vomited blood and flew backward. Buzz! Buzz! Amidst such a frightening scene, a figure retreated from it. The second hall's experts hurriedly looked over. In the next moment, they exclaimed in surprise. It was Lin Xian, that kid. Ha ha, I knew it. He was no match for Elder Hunyuan. That's right. Elder Hunyuan can already compete with a third heaven sage with a sacred artifact. Killing that kid is as easy as flipping his hand. Oh no, it's too difficult. The Crimson Dragon and the others also gasped. However, Elder Hunyuan's expression was somewhat cold. This was because he realized that although Lin Xian was pushed back by this attack, he wasn't injured. This made him feel incredulous. This was a saint artifact. Saints of the same level were no match for him. However, a person whose cultivation was so much lower than his was actually unharmed. Damn it! Unleash your full power. Wuji Seal. The limitless seal seemed to have transformed into a part of the world, mercilessly smashing down. Lin Xian grasped the great dragon's sword soul. Man and sword became one, and invisible laws erupted. The power of the 9-yang divine body was also constantly rumbling. At this moment, it was as if the sword god had been resurrected as he slashed forward with his sword. Clang! This sword slashed directly onto the Wuji seal, stirring up a monstrous energy. The Wuji seal buzzed, but it did not retreat. Brat, it's useless. You're no match for me. You can't possibly contend against my saint artifact. Elder Huanyuan's expression was ferocious. Is that so? It's too early to say that. Kill him. Lin Xian roared and attacked crazily. 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3 slashes. At the 9th slash, the Wuji seal could not withstand it and retreated. Lin Xian went crazy again. After 9 slashes, the Wuji seal was directly sent flying. One of Elder Huanyuan's hands was also directly chopped off. What? How was this possible? The surrounding people gasped. They could not believe that the other party had actually sent a saint artifact flying. Moreover, he had injured it. Elder Huanyuan was too shocked and felt that it was too unbelievable. That was a divine artifact. Among the saints, not everyone had a saint artifact. This was because a saint artifact was very difficult to refine. If a saint had a saint artifact, it was equivalent to an invincible existence among those of the same level, unless other opponents also had the same saint artifact. With a saint artifact could even allow a saint to fight above their level. It could be said that their strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. But now a late-stage second heaven elder took out a saint artifact and attacked with all his might, but he could not defeat a first heaven saint. It was really too unbelievable. The black-armored man and the other powerhouses gasped wildly. Was this the dragon sword soul? As expected of an offensive saint artifact. It was too terrifying. Not only did it make up for the gap in cultivation, but it also made up for the gap in strength caused by the saint artifact. It was no wonder that such a thing would make countless people jealous. Was this the saint artifact that you were so proud of? In front of me, it could not withstand a single blow. As I said, you are already old, and this era does not belong to you. Now kneel down and kowtow to kill yourself. Lin Xian's cold voice sounded again. Damn kid, don't be arrogant. You just borrowed the power of the dragon sword soul. Your own strength is no match for mine at all. Elder Hunyuan roared crazily. How dare you say that? How old am I? What's my cultivation? What's wrong with me withstanding the power of the dragon sword soul? Did you not borrow the power of the saint artifact? Besides, you are a late-stage second heaven person, and your cultivation is so much higher than mine. How dare you say such things? Why don't you attack the mortals to show your strength? Everyone fell silent when they heard this. Indeed, the gap between the two was too big. Under normal circumstances, if Elder Hunyuan attacked Lin Xian, he would be despised by everyone, because it was bullying a junior. But now Lin Xian's performance was too amazing, so much so that people ignored his age and cultivation. Old thing, if you have the guts, why don't you use the saint artifact, and I won't use the dragon sword soul? Let's fight again, how about it? All right, I don't believe that you can overturn the sky without the dragon sword soul. With a wave of his hand, he placed the Wuji seal above his head and let it float there. Lin Xian also let the dragon sword soul float in the sky. He did not use it again. In the next moment, he rushed over. Without the dragon sword soul, you are just an ant. Now go to hell. Buzz. Elder Hunyuan was very terrifying. The Wuji law on his body formed 9 mountains that surrounded together and suppressed Lin Xian. Although he did not use the saint artifact, Elder Hunyuan's power was still very terrifying. Therefore, the people of the second hall regained their hope. In their opinion, most of Lin Xian's power came from the dragon sword soul. At this moment, with the dragon sword soul above, Lin Xian's strength would definitely be much weaker. He would probably be killed in an instant. Lin Xian was not worried at all. So what if he did not have the dragon sword soul? Lin Xian had not only relied on the dragon sword soul to get to where he was today. Stellar transposition. With a wave of his hand, the 9 mountains flew out and directly smashed towards Elder Hunyuan, suppressing him in the sky. Elder Hunyuan was scared out of his wits. He quickly dodged, but he was still hit by the 3 mountains. Immediately his blood boiled. He shouted in anger, but before he could retaliate, a golden rune appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. The golden rune was extremely strange, and there was a green light between the runes. Blue Tide Birth. Chapter 34-35. At this moment, Lin Xian finally used this terrifying pupil technique. Buzz. Elder Hunyuan instantly screamed and his nerves became distorted. He was not the only one. The other powerhouses of the second hall were also screaming on the ground while holding their heads. Oh no! When the others saw this scene, their expressions changed. It was a pupil technique and it was a group attack. Run! Damn, this kid actually knew such a terrifying pupil technique. The Crimson Dragon was also shocked. However, at this moment, Elder Mubai had already arrived beside them and used his nomological powers to envelop them. Although the Blue Tide technique was an area of effect technique, Lin Xian had basically used the majority of its power on Elder Primordial Chaos. Although some of it leaked out, it was not impossible to resist. The first to bear the brunt was still Elder Hunyuan. Elder Hunyuan was hit by the pupil technique and his soul seemed to explode. He held his head and fell from the sky. Whoosh! Lin Xian turned into a sword light and arrived in front of Elder Hunyuan. The 5 elements nomological powers formed the 5 elements mountain and directly suppressed the other party. At the same time, he struck out a few sword chi and ruthlessly pierced through the other party's body. Then, he directly stepped on Elder Hunyuan's head with 1 foot. I've said that you're no match for me. Do you think that I can't do anything to you without the dragon sword soul? What a joke! He raised his big foot and directly stomped down. Boom! This stomp caused the entire ground to shake. Countless large cracks spread out in all directions. Everyone's hearts were beating violently. Ah! Elder Primordial Chaos let out a blood-curdling scream as one of his heads split open, causing blood to gush out. As a late-stage sage of the second heaven, his physique was much stronger than a sage of the first heaven. Therefore, this stomp was only fierce and did not crush his head. "You're quite tough, but how many kicks can you take?" Lin Xian sneered and directly kicked out. After dozens of kicks in a row, Elder Huanyuan's head was smashed into pieces like a watermelon. A miserable scream was heard. "Damn kid, I'll fight it out with you." However, his soul was injured and his body was suppressed by the seal. Therefore, just as he stood up and wanted to fight back, he was slapped to the ground. "Fight it out with me? How are you going to fight me? With your sacred artifact?" Lin Xian sneered. The great dragon's sword, Soul, blocked the void, directly cutting off the connection between Elder Primordius and the sacred tool. "As I said, I will make you kneel in front of me, kowtow and admit your mistake." At this point, he reached out with his golden hand and grabbed Elder Huanyuan's head that had just condensed. Then, he forcefully pressed it against the ground. With a loud boom, Elder Huanyuan's head was violently pressed against the ground. "Damned little bastard. Don't even think about making me kneel to you. How dare you scold me?" With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian broke his opponent's legs. "What's wrong? Do you feel wronged and want to kill me? Unfortunately, you can't do it. Today, I will make you kneel here forever, you old dog." The surrounding people from the second palace were all stunned. That scene was simply too shocking. Elder Huanyuan, a powerful expert in the late second heaven, was now kneeling on the ground with both his legs broken. Not only that, his head was also being stepped on by Lin Xian's foot and was being pressed into the ground. How powerful was that? Wow, that was too cool. Kid, well done. Crimson Shinnong and the North Demon were extremely excited. Elder Mubai sucked in a breath of cold air. He couldn't believe his own eyes. To be honest, when the two of them were fighting previously, he was already prepared to save Elder Huanyuan. That was because he felt that Lin Xian might be seriously injured. Therefore, he had to save him quickly. However, the course of events was out of his expectations. Lin Xian had been extremely powerful. Even when his opponent took out a sacred tool, he wasn't injured. In fact, when both of them didn't use sacred tools, Elder Huanyuan was defeated so quickly. And now he was kneeling at Lin Xian's feet. That was simply too unbelievable. I can't accept it. How is this possible? Elder Huanyuan's head was pressed into the ground. He opened his mouth and roared, eating a mouthful of dirt. However, he was really unconvinced. To be honest, he was now completely dumbfounded because he really couldn't imagine a person who was so much weaker than him. Moreover, how did Lin Xian turn the tables without using the great dragon sword Soul? So what if he was unconvinced? You probably didn't expect this to happen. Do you really think that I'm an ant in front of you? If you want to covet what belongs to me, Lin Xian, you'll have to ask the sword in my hand if it agrees. At this point, the great dragon sword Soul roared and rushed down. It turned into a green sword shadow in Lin Xian's hand again. He raised his hand and the sword fell. Elder Huanyuan's head was sent flying again. Furthermore, the remnant sword Soul on his neck made it so that his head couldn't heal at all. Ah! Elder Primordius let out a blood-curdling scream. His body was injured, and even his soul was injured, making him extremely weak. Lin Xian slashed him a few more times. His soul was even weaker and would be extinguished at any time. No. Damn it. Stop it now. No, you can't kill me. If you kill me, the second hall won't let you off. However, Lin Xian didn't respond at all. Another slash of the sword slashed forward. My life is over, Elder Huanyuan screamed, thinking that he was dead meat. However, at this moment, a hand slapped down and directly grabbed Elder Huanyuan's soul. Who was it? Lin Xian's eyes erupted with extremely terrifying golden runes. A cold voice sounded. Hall Master Lin, where it's possible to let people off, one should spare them. Who are you? How dare you interfere in my affairs? I'm the left guardian of the second hall. The voice sounded again. What? It's you! The crimson dragon screamed. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. You're finally willing to come out. I thought you wanted to be a coward all this time. How dare you? A cold voice rang out as a gigantic hand slapped out at Lin Xian. The power was much more terrifying than that of Elder Hunyuan. However, Lin Xian was already prepared. His figure flashed, and his entire body was like a Kuan Peng, instantly dodging and appearing on the other side. Are you angry out of humiliation? Or are you trying to silence me? Hurry up and hand over the great spear of destruction, or I'll tear down the second hall. Young man, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare you speak arrogantly in front of me? In the sky, a middle-aged man appeared. He had a powerful aura and was wearing a Taoist robe with a mysterious power. He was the left guardian of the second hall. Leave quickly and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll suppress you here for 500 years. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a fierce light burst out from his eyes. With a wave of his hand, the great dragon's sword soul transformed into a peerless sword light and rushed over. This sword was too fast and too sudden. It directly split Elder Hunyuan's soul into two. Then the great dragon's sword soul smashed the two halves of the soul into pieces. No, Elder Hunyuan's soul only let out a scream and disappeared between heaven and earth. The surrounding powerhouses of the second hall, including the black-armored man and the others, were all stunned. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Elder Hunyuan was dead. Chapter 34-36. The left guardian was also stunned. Then his face darkened. You dare to kill him? His voice was filled with merciless killing intent. Lin Xian laughed coldly when he heard that. Why wouldn't he? He wanted my life, so it's only right for me to kill him. Why? Do you think you can protect his life with your presence? What a joke! Who do you think you are? God, or the ruler of the world? I killed him because he deserved to die. Secondly, I slapped your face. You don't have the right to act all high and mighty in front of me. Hurry up and hand over the great destruction spear. Otherwise, I'll bury the entire second hall with you. Facing the left guardian, Lin Xian was even more domineering. The surrounding people were stunned. They couldn't believe it. That's the left guardian. He's even more powerful than Elder Hunyuan. The left guardian was already a third heaven sage. Now his strength was unfathomable and extremely terrifying. Isn't Lin Xian courting death by going against such a person? You're too arrogant. Do you think you can be arrogant in front of me just because you defeated Hunyuan? You're too weak. The left guardian's aura was too terrifying. It was so terrifying that it was unbelievable. Lin Xian frowned and sneered. You're much more powerful than Elder Hunyuan. But so what? Lin Xian wasn't even a small saint yet. He could escape from the Vermilion Bird Palace and even negotiate with a great saint in the Demon Cultivation Valley. He didn't care about the left guardian. Left guardian, hurry up and hand over the great destruction spear. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Elder Mubai also walked up and stood in front of Lin Xian. Why, Mubai? Are you going to protect him? The left guardian frowned. Elder Mubai snorted. Humph, I think you're muddle-headed. This is Hall Master Lin. He's the future hope of the Langistar. I hope you won't make any more mistakes. Hurry up and hand over the spear. Elder Mubai didn't hold back anymore. This was because he realized that Lin Xian was much more powerful and talented than he had imagined. They definitely had to rope in someone like him. Therefore, Mubai might have had some misgivings before and was prepared to let the people from the law enforcement hall intervene. But now, Elder Mubai couldn't control anything. He had to stand on Lin Xian's side. What great spear of destruction! I don't know. The left protector snorted coldly. Elder Mubai shouted angrily. Seems like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin? He directly made his move, and a terrifying light rushed up like a vast ocean. Courting death! You dare to attack me? The left protector roared as the two of them clashed. Violent power swept out in all directions. He was even stronger than when Lin Xian fought against Elder Primordial Chaos. Lin Xian's figure flashed and retreated far away, sword qi circling around his body. The Crimson Dragon and the others also came to his side. At the same time, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Wow, this Mubai is so strong. Previously, when he saw the other party in Elder Hunyuan, he thought that the other party was only at the second heaven. But from the looks of it now, that wasn't the case. The left protector was at least a sage at the third heaven. Doesn't this mean that Elder Mubai is also a sage at the third heaven? That should be it. Lin Xian felt the violent laws in front of him and nodded slightly. The people from the second hall were also shocked. They didn't expect things to turn out this way. Everyone retreated far away. In the center, the two peerless experts were fighting. Both of them had exchanged close to 300 moves. Suddenly, Elder Mubai roared and a terrifying aura rushed out from his body. In an instant, the left protector was sent flying. At the same time, he stretched out his palm and directly pierced through the left protector's body. He forcefully pulled out a black weapon from the left protector's body. Great Spear of Destruction. The Crimson Dragon screamed. Lin Xian's eyes widened. He didn't expect it to be in the hands of the other party. Moreover, what made his face turn gloomy was that the other party seemed to be refining the Great Spear of Destruction. There were countless blood-red lines on it. However, it seemed that the lines weren't completely refined. In the sky, Elder Mubai looked at this scene and frowned. How dare you refine it? You're courting death. As he said that, an extremely terrifying law appeared on his palm and forcibly obliterated all the blood-red runes. Ah! The left protector screamed. He felt that his soul connection had been severed. Damn it! How dare you destroy my soul imprint? He roared furiously. However, Elder Mubai didn't care. He waved his hand and threw the Great Spear of Destruction to Lin Xian. Hall Master Lin, you go first. I'll hold them off. Elder Mubai's voice could be heard. At this moment, he didn't look like a peacemaker anymore. Instead, he looked like a supreme god of war. All right. Lin Xian nodded. He also hesitated, holding the Great Spear of Destruction. He waved his hand and turned to leave. Hurry up and stop him. Don't let him go. The left protector regained his body and roared furiously. Countless experts from the second hall rushed forward and sealed the area. They couldn't leave. They stared at Lin Xian. You're courting death. The Great Spear of Destruction swept out and smashed all the people in front of him into pieces. Those who block me shall die. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous like the god of death. The surrounding experts from the second hall subconsciously took 3 steps back and trembled all over. He's too powerful. He could kill Elder Hunyuan even without the Great Spear of Destruction. Now that he had the Great Spear of Destruction, his power would definitely increase again. He might even be able to fight against a third heaven sage. How could they be a match for him? Everyone stop. At this moment, another voice was heard. At this moment, a few figures flew out from the palace in the mountain range in the distance. Seeing these figures, the people from the second hall all screamed and cheered. It was the 8th elder, the 6th elder, and the right protector. That's great. They all cheered. Although the 8th elder and the 6th elder weren't as powerful as Elder Hunyuan, they weren't too far off. More importantly, the right protector was also here. The right protector wasn't any weaker than the left protector. He was at least a third heaven sage. Such a person could definitely take down Lin Xian. Not good. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon's faces changed. Lin Xian furrowed his brows as well. Another third celestial layer expert had arrived. He took a deep breath and was ready to fight. In the distance, the left protector also laughed. Mubai, let's see how you're going to stop me this time. Elder Mubai also stopped attacking. He turned around and stared at the right custodian as he asked coldly, Are you really going to fight? Think carefully. The consequences aren't something that the two of you can bear. Elder Mubai's voice was filled with endless authority. Mubai, don't you understand? At this point, it's already out of our control. We have our own difficulties too. Is it that old man who wants this thing? What? Elder Mubai's eyes narrowed. Lin Xian also frowned. Although he didn't know who this old man was, he didn't know who he was. But judging from the tone of both sides, he should be an extremely powerful person. Coupled with the words of the Crimson Dragon and the others, could it be that some old fossil under the dragon vein wanted the Great Spear of Destruction? Chapter 34-37. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. Such a living fossil, regardless of status or strength, was a terrifying existence. Even the palace master of the Langya Palace might not be able to suppress it. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon thought of the same thing, and their faces turned dark. Kid, why don't we leave the Langya Star quickly? I don't think this place is suitable for us to stay. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he seemed to be deep in thought. Suddenly, a cold snort could be heard. Was that so? Just which Grand Elder's idea was it? I want to see who dares to be so bold at this time. The voice was extremely domineering. Lin Xian and the rest were stunned while Mubai smiled. Greetings, senior brother. Senior brother. Lin Xian and the rest sucked in a breath of cold air. Mubai was already extremely terrifying. His senior brother would definitely be even more terrifying, judging from the other party's tone. It seemed like he did not care about the Supreme Elder at all. The right guardian and the left guardian's faces were extremely ugly. The experts from the second hall also began to tremble. Many of them had never seen that person before. However, the two great protectors took a deep breath and bowed respectfully. Greetings, Supreme Elder. The people of the second hall were dumbfounded. Supreme Elder? Is the person who came out the Supreme Elder? They hurriedly bowed and prostrated themselves. Tell me, which old bastard is it that's secretly playing tricks on me? The Supreme Elder on the stage said coldly in the sky. The right guardian and the left guardian felt their scalps go numb and their bodies were drenched in cold sweat. This scene was simply too inconceivable. Previously, when the two guardians appeared, they were like peerless gods of war. Countless people were excited and shocked, as if they were saviors who could save the second hall. But now, these two unparalleled powerhouses were just like ants, shivering in fear. Is this the power of the Supreme Elder? It's too terrifying. No wonder the people of the second hall dared to snatch the great destruction spear. They must have the support of a Supreme Elder. However, he didn't expect that Lin Xian would also have the support of the Grand Elder. Even Lin Xian and the others were surprised by this. It seemed that there was no need for them to leave. They should be very safe here. This matter ends here. Tell the person behind you to stop. If he has any complaints, tell him to come to me. Yes. The left and right custodians bowed and said, not daring to raise their heads. The Grand Supreme Elder snorted coldly. With a wave of his sleeve, Mubai, Lin Xian, and the others turned into a ray of light, piercing through the sky and disappearing. After the other party left, the protector let out a sigh of relief. As for the people from the second hall, it was as if they had returned from the gates of hell. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others appeared in a palace. The Grand Elder stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, curiously sizing up Lin Xian. Xian Er quickly said, thanking the Supreme Elder for his help. You don't have to thank me. Little fellow, I also heard that you brought back the Supreme Sage Dharma idol from the Void Ocean and suppressed the demonic aura of the Langya Star. Logically speaking, you are the benefactor of the Langya Star. Moreover, you have now joined the Langya Star. Naturally, you are one of us. The previous situation was just a small group of people's petty thoughts. It has nothing to do with the main will of the Langya Star. I hope you can understand this. I understand. Lin Xian nodded. The Grand Supreme Elder said this to dispel his worries. After such a thing happened, it was inevitable that Lin Xian would not be on guard or prepare to leave the Langistar. However, the Grand Supreme Elder's words should make Lin Xian feel more at ease. Recently, due to the situation outside, the few old farts under the dragon vein have awakened. Someone must be thinking of something. Don't worry, I will go back and negotiate with them. They probably won't do anything again. Senior brother, what about the situation outside? Elder Mu Bai was also a little anxious at this moment because the current situation was very bad for the Langistar. I am here this time to talk about the situation outside. We will talk about this later. As he spoke, the Grand Supreme Elder looked at Lin Xian again. Little guy, I think very highly of you. This is my token. In the future, if you have any problems on the Langistar, just use my token. I will see who dares to do anything to you. Thank you very much, Senior. Lin Xian took the token and held it in his hand. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. After that, the Grand Supreme Elder left with Mu Bai, leaving only Lin Xian and the rest. Damn, we are finally safe this time. The Crimson Dragon heaved a sigh of relief. With such a powerful Grand Supreme Elder supporting them, the people from the second hall would probably not dare to do anything to them. This Grand Supreme Elder is very powerful. I wonder who he is? The Northern Demon's eyes also flickered. Lin Xian held the token in his hand. It was a jade pendant. The front side was engraved with a blue sky, and the back side was engraved with a word, Fong. It was probably the Grand Supreme Elder's surname. Elder Fong? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He put away the jade pendant and said, "Let's go back." They tore through the void and returned to the 8th hall. Next, Lin Xian and the rest went into seclusion. Lin Xian needed to consolidate his cultivation. The Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon also went into seclusion. Because they had returned from the Void Palace Ocean, they were worried about Lin Xian's safety. So they did not go into seclusion to cultivate. Now that Lin Xian was a sage, they naturally had to seize the time and try their best to break through. Previously, in the Void Palace Ocean, they had obtained many treasures. In addition to the resources of the 8th hall, Lin Xian also had an even more important treasure, which was the Great Sage Tower. He had asked Black Mountain to use a secret technique to take some treasures from the Great Sage Tower and give them to the Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon. Lin Xian was never stingy to his friends. At this moment, on a huge mountain peak, there was an immortal palace. There were a few figures standing there. One of them was the Grand Elder from before. Beside him was Mu Bai. The other people's auras were also very powerful. Obviously, they were all experts with strength and status on the Langistar. At this moment, they were gathered here to discuss something. Seeing that Elder Fong and Elder Mu Bai had returned, the rest of them asked. Elder Fong said coldly, "The people from the second hall were behind this. It was probably that guy who wanted to make a move. However, he probably did not dare to make a move openly, so he was suppressed by me. The things have been returned. The little guys have all gone back. I just don't know what happened next. As long as Lin Xian is fine, it's good." The others also nodded. The Grand Elder snorted. He guessed that Guy would not dare to make a move again. However, he might have some tricks up his sleeve. He had to be careful. Speaking of this, he shouted, "Dreamy, come here." "Greetings, Master." In the distant void, a stream of light flew over. Then a figure half knelt in the air, facing the Grand Elder with incomparable respect. Chapter 34-38. Meng Meng was a very beautiful woman. She had an exquisite face and pointed ears. She wore a thin veil. She knelt there respectfully. The wings on her back flapped gently, bringing with them a mysterious aura. The Great Elder said, "From now on, you will go to Lin Xian's side to protect him." "Yes, I understand." Meng Meng nodded gently, then stood up. She tore open the void and disappeared. 8th Palace. Lin Xian sat in a secret room, his hands forming seals. The invisible laws on his body shone brightly. There was a jade bottle in front of him. There was a blue liquid constantly flying out of it and being absorbed into Lin Xian's body. This jade screen was naturally a treasure obtained from the Great Sage Tower. It had to be said that the treasures in the Great Sage Tower were very magical. The liquid in the jade bottle was even more effective than the best pills in Lin Xian's possession. Therefore, Lin Xian could not wait to cultivate. About 3 months later, he opened his eyes. The laws on his body were more profound than before, and they were stronger than before. He did not continue cultivating because he was not the kind of person who liked to go into seclusion for hundreds of years. He liked to explore and fight. He liked to improve his strength in intense battles. He went out for a walk and found that the Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon were still in seclusion. He knew that the two of them would not come out until they became sages. However, he was not worried about this. He had given the two of them enough cultivation resources. He believed that with their talent, it was only a matter of time before they became sages. Therefore, after walking around, Lin Xian returned. With my current strength, I should be able to open the Great Void Divine Furnace again. His eyes flickered with anticipation. The Great Void Divine Furnace was also a treasure. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian entered the mysterious world in his body. Then, using the 5 elemental laws as his power, he pulled the cauldron of the Great Void Divine Furnace and lifted it up. Ka. As expected, an opening appeared in the Great Void Divine Furnace. Lin Xian was delighted. He wondered what he could get from the Great Void Divine Furnace this time. Whoosh! Lin Xian had originally wanted to give it a try. He wanted to see if he could take the initiative to enter the Void Divine Furnace and obtain the treasure. However, he discovered that even if he were to become a saint, he would not be able to do so. He didn't know who had left this furnace behind. It was too scary. He could only wait for the things inside to float out. Not long after, something floated out from inside. This time, it was a rolled-up piece of beast skin. Lin Xian took the beast skin and closed the Void Divine Furnace. He withdrew the law and curiously picked up the animal skin. This piece of beast skin was very light in his hand, as if it didn't have any weight at all. He didn't know what kind of beast skin it was made from. Moreover, this piece of animal skin seemed to be very old. However, since it was something that came out of the Void Divine Furnace, it was definitely something good. Lin Xian couldn't wait to open the animal skin. The beast skin wasn't big, and upon opening it, Zhang Xian found that it was actually a map of the stars. Lin Xian looked at it and knew that it was a map. However, the background was the universe of stars. A map? Could it be a treasure map? His interest was piqued, and he carefully studied it. Indeed, he found that one of the stars was circled with a special red mark. However, there was no marking at all. Kid, what are you looking at? He Shan also floated out. When he saw that there was a piece of beast skin in Lin Xian's hand, he was also surprised. I don't know what kind of map it is, but it seems to be a treasure map. A treasure map? Let me take a look. He Shan took a look and found that there was indeed a marked place. Kid, where did you get this map? Looking at this beast skin, there shouldn't be any great treasure. He Shan curled his lips. However, Lin Xian's eyes flashed. There wasn't any great treasure? If that was the case, it shouldn't have been placed in the Void Divine Record. Therefore, this must be a mysterious place. He said, since I have nothing to do recently, why don't we explore it? He Shan naturally had no objections to exploring the treasure. Lin Xian stood up and prepared to walk out of the 8th palace. However, as soon as he stepped out of the palace, he saw a figure walking toward him. Who are you? Lin Xian was stunned. He had seen all the elders of the 8th palace, but he had never seen the person in front of him. She was a tall woman with beautiful hair and a delicate face. She had 2 pointed ears, which made her look like an elf. The pair of wings on his back were translucent and looked extremely beautiful. She came to Lin Xian's side and bowed slightly. Greetings, Palace Master. Who are you? Lin Xian was surprised. My name is Meng Meng. The Grand Elder sent me to follow you. Oh! Lin Xian frowned. It was the Grand Elder with the surname Fong. He had sent someone to follow him. He guessed that the person was protecting him. After all, even if the second palace didn't make a move, they would still do something in the dark. Lin Xian said, "Then you can follow me. However, I might have to leave the Langistar for a while. Why don't you stay in the 8th palace?" Palace Master wants to leave? Meng Meng was stunned. She had heard about this new Palace Master. She knew that he was a top genius and had caused a huge commotion in the Void Ocean. At this moment, countless experts outside the Langistar were here for him. Therefore, it was too dangerous for him to go out at this time. She said, "Palace Master, do you really want to go?" "It's not safe outside recently." "Is there a teleportation formation that can send me out?" "Avoid those people outside." Lin Xian frowned slightly. It seemed that those people from the 8th Palace had not left yet. They were really unwilling to give up. "I can't make this decision. I have to ask Elder Mubai." "Palace Master Lin, please wait for a while." Meng Meng quickly sent a voice transmission to Elder Mubai. Not long after, Elder Mubai came and said anxiously, "Palace Master Lin, do you really want to go out? If there's anything, you can ask the others on the Langistar to help you. It's really too dangerous for you to go out now. No one can help you with this matter." Lin Xian shook his head. He had to go treasure hunting. No one could help him. He said, "Don't worry. Don't you believe in my strength? Even if those people are strong, I won't fight them head on. Also, it shouldn't be a problem to send me out secretly. All right." Elder Mubai took a deep breath. He knew that a genius like Lin Xian would not be willing to be lonely. Only the most hot-blooded battles could allow him to grow. He said, "Then I'll send you to a nearby world. You must be careful. Also, you must let Meng Meng follow you to protect your safety." "All right." Lin Xian nodded. As long as he left, it didn't matter if someone followed him. However, he still asked, "Elder Mubai, is the situation outside very serious? Is there anything I can help with?" After all, this matter started because of him. Chapter 3439. Mubai said, "Don't worry, Hall Master Lin. Although it's serious, we can still handle it. Moreover, we've already thought of ways to drive a wedge between them. Perhaps their attention will be diverted then." Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded and said, "After I leave, you can also release some information, and I can also set up some illusions. Let them not cover the Langistar for the time being and search the universe to find me. They will probably fly around like headless flies." He didn't care about those big sects outside. He didn't plan to go head-to-head with them now. Therefore, there shouldn't be any danger this time. Elder Mubai took Lin Xian and left the Langistar through a world-level teleportation portal. They arrived at a nearby star world. Dream was with them. Buzz! The portal flickered and teleported them to another star world. This star world was relatively close to the Langistar and could be considered a subsidiary world. Lin Xian and Dream's figures appeared. This time, there were only the two of them. The North Demon, the Crimson Dragon, was still in seclusion and didn't follow. After the dizziness caused by the portal disappeared, Lin Xian looked around. "Let's go." The two of them rose into the sky and flew toward the outer realm. Not long after they arrived in the outer realm, Lin Xian frowned. There were people searching nearby. Lin Xian even used his heavenly secret god eyes and saw that there were more people in the distance, which was the area near the Langistar. There were also many sages wandering around. It seemed that those people in the Dragon Valley and the 8 Swaying Mountains were unwilling to give up. However, he didn't expect the other party to search such a wide area. He had already used the world-level teleportation portal to teleport to another star world. But the other party had set up a defense line. "Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand and brought Dream along. The two of them prepared to leave quickly. However, at this moment, a cold shout came from afar. "Stop! Countless laws flew and formed 7 lines of defense blocking them. Then a team rushed over from afar. "Who are you? Who allowed you to wander around?" Dreamy frowned and turned around. When Lin Xian turned around, he also changed his face. Although these people were saints, he was confident that they wouldn't be able to detect him. "We are from this star world and are preparing to go out to search for some treasures," Lin Xian said indifferently. "Looking for treasures? What treasures? Don't go. Recently, this star field has been completely sealed off by us. You can only enter but not leave. So you guys should just stay here obediently. Can't go out?" Lin Xian frowned. At this moment, a burly man at the side laughed coldly. What was the point of talking to him? He was just an ant. Just kill him. Because Lin Xian and the others were hiding their auras, they didn't know how strong Lin Xian was. As far as they were concerned, such a young man was at most a half-saint. They had 2 sages on their side. Killing such an ant was as easy as blowing off dust. In front, the middle-aged man waved his hand. He stared at Lin Xian and Dreamy. "Kid, you're going to die. How about this? I'll give you a chance to live. Get lost and leave your female companion behind, and I'll spare your life." "Hee hee, little beauty, judging from your appearance, could it be that you're from the elf clan? Let me take good care of you later." The middle-aged man revealed a look of greed. The elf clan was known for their beauty in the universe. Moreover, the elf clan's bloodline was not bad. They were close to nature. If he could get a woman from the elf clan as his partner, it would be very beneficial for his cultivation. Therefore, even the saint was a little tempted. Behind him, the burly man also laughed. Was he from the elf clan? Then you can't have it all by yourself. I want a share of it too. He also walked over. The eyes of the 2 sages shone brightly. The laws around their bodies surrounded them. The warriors following them sneered. They felt sad for Lin Xian and Dreamy's fate. Lin Xian frowned, and a cold look appeared in his eyes. However, before he could say anything, Dreamy, who was beside him, was furious. "Go to hell!" The wings on her back drew a dreamy ray of light. It was like a heavenly blade that instantly cut the 2 of them in half. Uft! 2 heads flew up, and the sage's blood splattered. It directly pierced through the warriors behind them. Countless screams sounded, and at the same time, their eyes were filled with infinite fear. Who was this person? With a raise of her hand, she cut off the heads of 2 sages. "Damn it, this is bad." The 2 sages also screamed crazily, and their heads flew back in an instant. They're not ordinary people. There's something wrong with them. "Hurry up and catch him!" The 2 of them roared angrily, but they were slapped into a bloody mist by Dreamy. Not only that, the translucent wings on Dreamy's back kept flapping, instantly forming a sacred domain. The bloody mist of the 2 sages and the warriors in the distance were all enveloped. In the next moment, countless screams sounded, and then the sacred domain disappeared. Everything turned into ashes. "Temple Master, let's go." Dreamy turned around and said. Lin Xian nodded and rushed over in a flash. At the same time, he was shocked. This woman is a little violent. But that's good. It saves me the trouble of taking action. The 2 of them turned into 2 streams of light, instantly cut through the dark universe, and flew into the distance. When she realized that no one was chasing after them for the time being, Dreamy said, "Temple Master, I was a little impulsive. I shouldn't have attacked like this." Lin Xian waved his hand. "No, you did very well. Because even if you didn't attack, I was prepared to attack. Let's go." As he said that, he took out the spirit boat, and the 2 of them quickly streaked through the void. Behind them, more than 10 figures came out from the place where the battle had been. They were a few sages. They looked at the scene around them and frowned. "Oh no, someone attacked. And a sage has fallen. Damn it, who is it? Is it someone from the Langus Star? Or someone else? I don't know, but it must be related to Lin Xian. Hurry up and investigate." They roared crazily. They quickly moved out and searched the 4 seas and 8 wastelands. Unfortunately, Lin Xian and Dreamy had already left. Next, Lin Xian and the others sat on the spirit boat, cultivating as they flew towards their destination. Although he didn't know the specific location on the star map, he could still identify the general direction. Therefore, he decided to fly to the star field first, and then ask about the specific world marked by the red circle. Which world was it? Just like that, a month passed. The cold void of the universe was emotionless and gloomy all year round. Only a few stars were shining brightly. Generally, those who traveled in the universe were strong, but they only cultivated in seclusion and flew on the spirit boat. After all, such a boring life would drive one crazy after a long time. On this day there was a change. When Lin Xian and the others passed by a star world, Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes, and then the spirit boat stopped. "What's wrong? Temple Master." Dreamy also stood up. Chapter 3440. Lin Xian did not say anything. Instead, he pointed to the outside. Meng Huan's soul stretched out to control the array. She was instantly stunned. It turned out that there was an intense battle happening in the world closest to them. It seemed like the battle was about to reach the extraterritorial region. Meng Huan frowned. In the distance, the battle was extremely terrifying. The murderous aura shot up into the sky. The surrounding sea of blood was still surging. It made people feel like they were in hell. Large cracks appeared in the sky. Buzz! Right at this moment, a huge palm grabbed out from below. It covered the entire sky and covered the entire sky. A few martial artists who wanted to escape were caught in an instant. Blood gushed out of their wounds as they screamed in agony. "Palace Master, should we help?" Meng Huan asked doubtfully. This kind of thing was very common. Therefore, she did not understand why Lin Xian stayed here. Was he going to stand up for injustice? Lin Xian frowned. His eyes flashed with a golden light as he looked into the distance. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He stood up abruptly and rushed outside. Meng Huan was stunned when she saw this. She also rushed out. Outside, a few figures escaped from the large palm. One of them was covered in blood, and his face was extremely pale. At the same time, a cold voice was heard. "Catch that goose, Santong! You can't let him escape. The item is in his hands." This voice was filled with endless power of the laws and terrifying, murderous intent. It shook the 9 heavens. Then, a flying sword with terrifying, murderous intent flew towards the injured youth, like a meteor. "Not good. Santong, run. Young master, I'll block it for you." The 2 elders beside him roared crazily. The injured youth roared, "Damn it, let's go together." Boom! Just as he finished speaking, he was sent flying. The lightning on the flying sword was too terrifying. Then a cold laugh was heard. "You want to leave? Do you think you can?" Another 3 flying swords flew towards the young man. Each of them was filled with lightning as they flew towards him. It seemed like they wanted to kill the youth on the spot. They did not hold back at all. "No, young master, leave quickly." The surrounding experts roared madly, but there was nothing they could do. The 3 flying swords were getting closer and closer to the injured youth. As for the injured youth, he raised his head and roared. "I can't accept this." He couldn't accept it, but so what if he was unwilling? This time, there was only 1 saint in their group, and the most powerful one was only a half-saint. But the other party had sent 3 sages. It was already a miracle that they were able to drag it out until now. Was he going to die? "I'm the one who harmed you. I'm sorry." The young man gave up on resisting and let out a miserable smile. He was also a peak-level genius, but that was in the past. After coming to the ancient path of stars, he didn't seem so dazzling anymore. This time, for the sake of the opportunity, he gave it his all. But was he still going to fail? Thinking of this, he closed his eyes. The 3 flying swords were extremely fast and arrived in front of him in an instant. He was already able to sense the berserk power that was brought about by them, let alone 3. Just one strike was enough to destroy his soul. He had already prepared himself for death. However, in the next moment he was stunned, because he felt that the 3 extremely terrifying forces of destruction had disappeared in an instant. What was going on? He suddenly opened his eyes. In the next moment he was stunned. The reason for that was because he discovered a figure standing before him. The figure had his back facing him. He stretched out a large golden hand and directly grabbed the 3 flying swords. The 3 flying swords were like lightning dragons. They kept twisting and turning, trying to break free, but they couldn't do it at all. He was saved. The injured youth's face was full of shock. The surrounding warriors were also stunned. They instantly rushed over. "Thank you for saving him, Senior." They looked at the figure who made the move and were very excited. The other party had caught such a terrifying attack in an instant. He must be a powerful senior. The figure in front turned his head and glanced at the injured youth. "Brother Gu, long time no see." What? The surrounding people were all stunned. The injured youth's body also trembled and his eyes widened. "You are? Brother Lin, it's actually you." He was too shocked because he realized that he knew the person in front of him. Moreover, they were good friends before. However, back then they were all top geniuses in that world. After they left and went to the ancient path of stars, he hadn't seen the other party. He didn't expect that the other party would appear here. "That's right, it's me." The person who came was Lin Xian. He looked at the injured youth. This injured youth was none other than a genius of the Gu family, Gu Santong. He was one of Lin Xian's friends in the true spirit world. Back then, Gu Santong should have walked the path of the family, so he didn't stay with Lin Xian. However, he didn't expect to see this scene today. In the surroundings, the Gu clan's martial artists were also stunned. It seemed that the other party was a friend of their young master. That was great. They were saved. However, Gu Santong's expression changed instantly. He said, "Brother Lin, leave quickly. There are 3 saints in front. We can't fight them head-on. Leave quickly." "Yes, let's leave first." The surrounding people also said, "You want to leave? Do you think you can?" Below, cold laughter sounded, followed by countless figures rushing over. At the front were the 3 saints. These 3 saints stood in 3 different directions and sealed off the space, trapping Lin Xian, Gu Santong, and the others. To think that there would be more helpers. But so what? They were just 2 young juniors, existences that were akin to ants. They could kill them easily. "Brother Gu, what's going on? Why are you being hunted?" Lin Xian was also shocked. That shouldn't be. Gu Santong was a genius of the Gu family, and the Gu family was a family that had produced a great emperor. They were definitely from the emperor family. How could such a family be hunted down? Could it be that an accident had happened? Gu Santong sighed, and his expression became incomparably desolate. This matter was hard to explain in a few words. Moreover, this wasn't the time to talk about this. Gu Santong looked around, and his expression was ugly. "Brother Lin, I'm afraid I've implicated you this time." "No worries." Lin Xian shook his head. Then he took out some spiritual wine and spiritual medicine from his storage ring, as well as some treasures, and fed them to Gu Santong. "Recover first." Then he turned to look at Meng Meng. "Meng Meng, do what you want to do next." "Yes." Meng Meng nodded and walked out. Gu Santong was stunned. The warriors around him were also stunned. What was going on? Shouldn't the most important thing now be to find a way to escape? Why didn't the person in front of them do it? Instead, he sent a beautiful girl? Could it be that he thought that a thin and weak girl would be able to handle this situation? What a joke! There were 3 saints on the other side. Chapter 3441. Sure enough, the 3 sages on the other side also sneered. "She really doesn't know what's good for her. Looks like she's an idiot. She doesn't know who we are. Well, let's kill her in one move." One of the sages raised his hand and sneered at Dreamy. She's not bad-looking, but she's an idiot. So, there's no need for her to live. His finger carried an endless amount of laws as it pointed forward. That was the attack of a sage. Under that attack, no one below the level of a sage would be able to survive. Therefore, the people on the other side all sneered. They wanted to see what kind of tragic scene it would be when such a beautiful woman was killed. The people of the Gu family all had their hearts in their throats. Many of them closed their eyes. They felt hopeless. Gu Santong was so anxious that his face was red. He wanted to say something, but Lin Xian waved his hand. He was very calm. In front of him, Dreamy was even more calm. Looking at the finger, she smiled disdainfully. In the next moment, she raised her hand and slashed forward with her fingers like a knife. The force slashed down and tore the sky apart. A terrifying energy instantly spread over. The finger's law of the sage was torn to pieces. Otherwise, that saint would have been sliced into two by a single slash. Ah! A miserable scream was heard. It made one's scalp tingle. The scene became extremely strange. The people on the other side were all stunned. Heavens, what's going on? One of their sages was cut in half. Although it was only a first heaven sage, it was an existence that surpassed the heavens and earth. Everyone below the level of a sage was an ant. How could this woman in front of them be so powerful? Could it be that she was also a sage? At that moment, they were all confused. The people of the Gu family also opened their mouths wide. Their eyeballs almost fell out. Originally, they thought that such a beautiful woman would definitely disappear into thin air, so they all closed their eyes. However, when they opened their eyes and saw that scene, they were also dumbfounded. What a powerful technique! This woman must be a sage. They had all misjudged her. Damn it, who are you people? At that moment, another sage spoke. If the other party was a sage, then she must be from a big family or a big sect. They had to get to the bottom of this. Firstly, they had to avoid kicking an iron plate. Secondly, they might be implicated. You don't deserve to know, Dreamy said coldly. She could tell that the people being chased were Lin Xian's friends. If they hadn't come, these people would have been killed. Since that was the case, she would definitely not go easy on him. You're courting death. Little doll, you're too arrogant. Attack together. The three saints shouted coldly. They didn't want any undue delay. As far as they were concerned, Lin Xian was nothing to be afraid of. He should be the young master of a large family. This little girl should be a Tao protector. That was probably why his strength was so terrifying. As long as he took down this woman, the rest of the people would be nothing more than ants. Kill! The first to make a move was the injured saint. His expression was ice cold, and the laws revolved around him, forming a large furnace. It caused the entire sky to burn, and a massive furnace containing boundless flames descended from the sky, destroying Meng Chuan. The other person opened his mouth and spat out countless sound waves. The sound waves transformed into blades of laws that slashed down. The last person slapped out with his palm. The stars, sun, and moon revolved around it, and it was extremely mysterious. The three saints had used their ultimate techniques to kill Meng Chuan instantly. Not good. Seeing this scene, Gu Santong and the others became nervous again. Although they now knew that Meng Chuan was also a saint and was very powerful, this was not a one-on-one battle. The other party had three saints attacking together. No matter how powerful Meng Chuan was, she wouldn't be able to block them. The only one who was calm was Lin Xian. Lin Xian knew that Meng Chuan was sent to protect him, which meant that she must be very powerful. The three saints of the first heaven couldn't do anything to her. Meng Chuan didn't say anything. The translucent wings on her back flickered with mysterious power, and the laws revolved around them. She gently danced, and two blades of light slashed forward. The two blades of light were extremely terrifying with destruction and killing intent. As soon as they appeared, everyone felt that their souls were about to be split open. Between heaven and earth, two rays of light lit up. Then, Everyone couldn't see anything. When they regained their vision, they found that the 3 sages had been killed. Their bodies and souls were destroyed, and they couldn't be more dead. What? They were all dead. Gu Santong and the others' eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Those were 3 sages. How terrifying. But now, the 3 saints were lying there like dead dogs, without any signs of life. Who was that woman in front of them? The people of the Gu family were shocked. Could it be that she was really the protector of the young man next to them? The remaining powerhouses on the other side were all stunned. The half-sages started to tremble. Dead. The 3 saints of the first heaven had died in an instant. Run away quickly. In the next moment, they ran away like crazy. The woman in front of them was too terrifying. There was no way to stop her. How could Meng Chuan let these people escape? She shouted and activated her sacred domain, covering heaven and earth. Countless blades of light flashed. Each of them brought about countless flowers of blood. In almost the blink of an eye, everyone was killed. In the sky, only the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood were still surging. Meng Chuan withdrew her sacred domain. Her body was spotless, and not even a drop of blood was stained. The people of the Gu family looked at this scene in amazement. At the same time, they were incomparably envious. If their young master Santong had such a Tao protector expert by his side, that would be great. But in the next moment, their eyes widened again. They could not believe what they had just seen. In front of them, the super beautiful woman came to Lin Xian's side and said respectfully, "Temple Master, are you satisfied with what I've done?" Not bad." Lin Xian nodded. Then, Meng Chuan stood respectfully behind Lin Xian. This scene stunned the people of the Gu family. What was going on? Could it be that she was not a protector? To be honest, they could not believe it either. This was because most protectors had a very arrogant attitude. They would not intervene unless it was a matter of life and death. But this woman in front of them was so respectful to this young man. This was not the style of a protector at all. Instead, she looked like a follower. Who was this person? What was the background of this young man? They all looked at Gu Santong. Gu Santong was still in shock at this moment, but after being pushed by his elder, he immediately came back to his senses. Chapter 3442. He took a deep breath and was just about to say something. Lin Xian said, "Brother Gu, let's not talk about it. Let's leave this place first." "All right." Gu Santong nodded. Next, they followed Lin Xian into the spirit ship. Then it quickly flew across the universe and disappeared into the darkness. After entering the spirit ship and completely leaving, Gu Santong and the elders of the Gu family finally heaved a sigh of relief. They began to swallow elixirs to recover from their injuries. However, most of them were stunned by Lin Xian. Among them, a few elders said, "Mr. Santong, you haven't introduced this mister yet." "Yes, he's the benefactor of our Gu family. You don't have to say that. Brother Gu and I are good friends, and we both came from the same star realm. Naturally, we'll help each other out. He's good friends with Mr. Santong, and we both came from the quintessential world." The elders of the Gu family were all stunned. Gu Santong swallowed 2 elixirs and nodded. "That's right. Don't you recognize him? Brother Lin was the Central Emperor back then." "Central Emperor? Lin Xian. It's him." The surrounding elders of the Gu family were stunned at first, then sucked in a breath of cold air. How could they not know? He was one of the top 5 peerless geniuses of the quintessential world. Eastern Sage, Southern Emperor, Northern Demon, Western Buddha, and Central Emperor. The central baron among them was Lin Xian. They did not expect to meet an old friend here and be saved by him. Lin Xian frowned and asked, "Brother Gu, what happened? Did something happen to the Gu family? Why are you being hunted down?" To be honest, he was very confused. A genius of the Emperor family being hunted down was really too unbelievable. Hearing this, Gu Santong laughed bitterly. "It's not that something happened to the family, it's me. What happened to you? When I was in the quintessential world, I was considered a top genius. After leaving the ancient path of stars, my talent was not the best. More importantly, before leaving the ancient path of stars, I challenged the divine body of the Gu family. In the end, he was injured by him. Moreover, because of my challenge, the godly body was extremely angry and started to suppress me. This caused me to gradually break away from the core circle of the Gu clan. Later, after leaving the ancient starry sky path, the support I received from my family gradually decreased. Some time ago, I happened to get some news about the void demonic beasts, so I decided to take a gamble and brought some people to explore. In the end, I really did find a void beast skin. However, I was chased by other experts and thought that I was dead for sure. I didn't expect you to come and save me at the last moment. Gu Santong's explanation was concise, but Lin Xian already understood. It seemed that Gu Santong had offended someone, and the person he had offended was the godly physique of his own family. The Gu clan was an imperial clan, and the godhood of the Gu clan was similar to Leaf Daodenier's status in the Yi clan. Therefore, Gu Santong's fate for offending such a person would be disastrous. Fortunately, Gu Santong was already qualified to leave the ancient path of the stars. Otherwise, it would be even worse. Not only that, the godly physique secretly tried to kill us, but we were lucky and escaped. The elders beside them could not bear to watch any longer. It was obvious that things were not as simple as they seemed. Lin Xian only had to think about it to know that such a battle between big clans would be extremely dangerous. Gu Santong was lucky to be able to survive until now. What are your plans now? Lin Xian asked. Gu Santong sighed. What plans could he have? As long as the godly physique was in the Gu clan, he had no chance and no right to return. Moreover, he wanted to say something, but suddenly sighed and shook his head. Forget it. Let's not talk about it. Right, Brother Lin, why are you here? Gu Santong asked. Lin Xian said that he had recently obtained a treasure map, so he was prepared to come and explore it. He took out the map and pointed to the star circled in red. It should be nearby, but I can't be sure. This is the Great Yen planet. Gu Santong exclaimed. When Lin Xian heard this, he was also stunned. Then he asked, You know this star world? Gu Santong nodded. That's right, this is the Great Yen planet, because I'm in this star world. You're there. Lin Xian was surprised, but soon smiled. It seems that I'm really lucky. Then, I'll disturb you for a few days. Brother Lin, why are you being so courteous with me? You're my savior. I originally wanted to invite you to my place and treat you well. Since he already knew that this was the star world, Lin Xian did not hesitate. He immediately changed directions and flew towards the Great Yen planet. Soon, they arrived at the Great Yen planet. The Great Yen planet was also a famous star world. There were many powerhouses and many sages there. It could be said that martial arts were very developed. Gu Santong had a certain amount of power on the Great Yen planet, so he quickly arrived at a spirit vein. In the next few days, Gu Santong really treated Lin Xian well. The two of them seemed to have endless things to talk about. Furthermore, they had also discussed some matters regarding the martial Dao. Gu Santong was only a half-sage, while Lin Xian was already a sage. After a few conversations, Gu Santong benefited a lot, which made him very happy. Next, Gu Santong tried to go into seclusion, while Lin Xian and Lin Xian prepared to walk around the Great Yen planet. This was because the beast skin only showed the star world. As for what was in this world, he did not know. However, Lin Xian did not care too much. Treasure hunting was all about excitement. Although he did not know what the final treasure was, he did not know. However, to be able to come here and meet Gu Santong was already a huge stroke of luck for him. Even if he could not find the treasure, Lin Xian felt that it was worth it. After all, in the true spirit world, he did not have many friends. Besides Gu Santong, there was also Wu Hua and Yi Wu Dao, who he had a good relationship with. However, these old friends were scattered all over the universe. It was not easy to meet them. Moreover, Lin Xian felt that if this map allowed him to meet Gu Santong, he might be able to find some other opportunities. Lin Xian brought Lin Xian and wandered around the great Yen planet. After nearly a month, he understood the local customs and customs of the great Yen planet. He also had a new understanding of the heavenly Tao. Unknowingly, his strength had also increased steadily. After more than a month, Lin Xian once again returned to Gu Santong's place. After he returned, he found that the atmosphere was a little strange. It seemed to be a little heavy. What was going on? Lin Xian frowned. Could it be that something had happened again? At this time an elder walked over and respectfully said, "So Lin Gongzi has returned." "Seventh elder, what's going on? Why does the atmosphere feel a little strange?" Chapter 3443. These days, Lin Xian had gotten to know them better. These were the most loyal clan members of Gu Santong's side. Therefore, Lin Xian did not treat them as strangers. The seventh elder said in a low voice, "Young Master Lin had sharp eyes. Today was indeed different because there were guests." Guests? Lin Xian was stunned. Were they here to look for Santong? That's right, they were here to look for the young master. You don't look too happy. Could it be that you're hiding something from me? Seventh elder sighed and did not say anything. Instead, he led Lin Xian and Lin Meng to a courtyard. The scenery was beautiful, but there were not many people. Lin Xian understood seventh elder's intentions when he arrived. There was no one in this courtyard, but there was someone in the courtyard opposite. From here, Lin Xian could clearly see everything that was happening in the courtyard opposite. At this moment, he saw Gu Santong sitting there with a gloomy expression. Gu Santong's aura was stronger than it had been a month ago. It was obvious that the martial arts exchange had been of great help to Gu Santong. This should have been something to be happy about, but Gu Santong did not look happy at all. Instead, there was an extremely solemn expression on his face. This made Lin Xian realize that things were not so simple. Who was it? Who could give Gu Santong such pressure? Not far from Gu Santong sat a middle-aged man. That middle-aged man was tall and slender, with a hooked nose and a cold expression on his face. They seemed to be discussing something. Lin Xian's soul was very strong, so he could instantly hear what they were talking about. However, it seemed that the conversation between the two was about to end, so Lin Xian only heard a few sentences. "Young Master Gu, this is not something you can resist. Therefore, I advise you not to resist." Gu Santong sat there, not saying a word. At this moment, the middle-aged man spoke again. "I have conveyed your message. I hope that young Master Gu will not be late." At this point, he stood up and strode away. It seemed that he did not care about Gu Santong at all. Lin Xian watched the entire process. However, that middle-aged man did not notice at all that someone was inspecting him. After the middle-aged man left, Gu Santong exuded a terrifying aura, and the air around him started to fluctuate rapidly. It was clear that he was furious. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he took a deep breath and said to Fantasy, "Fantasy, you go back first. I'll go talk to him myself." As he spoke, he walked toward the courtyard. "Brother Lin, you're back." Gu Santong's original aura was very frightening. His entire body seemed to have merged into the void, becoming even more frightening. He was originally a genius disciple of the Gu clan and cultivated the Great Void technique created by the Void Emperor. This was a spatial technique. It was extremely terrifying. When he sensed the figure in front of him, he immediately walked out of the void, and the power of the void around him quickly disappeared. Who was that person just now? Was there any conflict between you two? Lin Xian asked. Gu Santong was stunned. You heard everything? Lin Xian said, I heard a little, but I don't know the details. If you trust me, you can tell me. I might have a way to help you. Gu Santong laughed bitterly. Brother Lin, how can I not trust you? You saved my life. However, this matter was too difficult to talk about. Forget it. You'll know soon enough. I'll tell you. Next, Gu Santong gave a simple explanation. Lin Xian understood everything after hearing it, and then frowned. It turned out that Gu Santong had come to the great Yen planet from the ancient Star Road. In order to quickly gain a foothold on the great Yen planet, their bloodline decided to form a marriage alliance with a very powerful clan. Gu Santong did not agree at first. However, because of him, the divine body not only suppressed him, but also their bloodline. Therefore, at this time, Gu Santong also decided to sacrifice himself to repay their bloodline. Therefore, he agreed. The Gu family was not engaged to an ordinary clan, but to the Shadowless clan. The Shadowless clan was one of the 10,000 ancient clans. Moreover, they were a royal clan and were very powerful. On the great Yen planet, there was a branch of the Shadowless clan. Logically speaking, the Shadowless clan was a royal clan, while the Gu family was an emperor clan. However, the Shadowless clan had flourished on the great Yen planet for thousands of years and was very powerful. As for Gu Santong's bloodline, they were not very powerful. In addition, they had just arrived. Therefore, the marriage alliance between the two could be considered a match. At that time, the Gu family still needed the help of the Shadowless clan. At first, Gu Santong did not think much of it. However, by chance, he found out about the Shadowless clan's secret and conspiracy. He was immediately unhappy. He wanted to break off the marriage alliance, but how could his family agree? His bloodline had finally settled down here. If they offended the Shadowless clan, they would definitely be forced to leave the great Yen planet. It would be even more difficult to go to other worlds in the future. They might even be killed by the Gu family's divine body. Oh, what secret? Lin Xian asked. For Gu Santong to be so angry, it was definitely not a small matter. Gu Santong gritted his teeth. That damned woman and the Shadowless clan were not trying to help our Gu family. They were trying to steal our Gu family's inheritance. As you know, we are emperor clans. What we cultivate is naturally the emperor's techniques. How exquisite that was! That woman from the Shadowless clan and her entire family were trying to steal the ancient void scripture. There is actually such a thing. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. The ancient void scripture was an inheritance created by the emperor. It was definitely something that countless people would be jealous of. Although Gu Santong and his bloodline had declined, they were unable to learn the core of the inheritance. However, what they cultivated was related to the emperor's techniques. It was definitely not weak. The Shadowless clan had taken a fancy to this, which was why they had arranged the marriage alliance. The Shadowless clan was also a very mysterious clan. They had no form and were very similar to the Void. This was why they wanted to steal the Gu family's inheritance. Didn't you tell your bloodline about this? Lin Xian asked. Not yet. My family still doesn't know. Because if this secret was leaked, the Shadowless clan would not be so gentle. They would definitely use extremely fierce methods. Perhaps they might even catch us all in one fell swoop. Then what do you plan to do? I don't know. But even if I die, I will not leak our Gu family's ancient void scripture. Not to mention the ancient void scripture. Even any of our country's techniques would not be leaked to the other party. Then, what was the agreement between you two? Lin Xian asked again. Chapter 3444. Gu Santong said, It's that woman, the woman who wants to marry me. She probably can't wait any longer and is rushing me to complete the marriage. Oh, someone from the Shadowless clan? That's good. I want to see who is so bold as to covet the Void Emperor's secret technique inheritance. A cold glint appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. To be honest, he was furious. Gu Santong was his friend, and he could not accept the fact that the other party dared to scheme against his friend. Moreover, he came from the true spirit world, and the Void Emperor was the emperor of the true spirit world. Lin Xian was naturally displeased that the other worlds were trying to take advantage of their world. Therefore, he wanted to see what the Shadowless clan was capable of to be so arrogant. Brother Lin, what do you mean? Gu Santong looked at Lin Xian in surprise. Lin Xian smiled. Didn't he want to see you? Let's meet then. Don't worry, with me here, I won't let the Gu clan's inheritance leak out. Good. Gu Santong was also excited, and hope returned to his eyes. He knew that Lin Xian was very strong now, and he seemed to have a powerful force behind him. If Lin Xian could help, it would be best. He said, Hero, I know we are friends, but if we fight, the implications will be too great. However, if you can really help me get out of this marriage, I can give you a scroll of our Gu clan's ancient scripture as a reward. Hearing this, Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. That was the ancient scripture of the Emperor clan. However, he quickly said, Isn't the Gu clan's inheritance not allowed to be leaked? You're violating the clan rules. Gu Santong said, Don't worry, I won't violate the clan rules. The core of our Gu clan is the Void ancient scripture created by the Void Emperor. I've only touched the surface, and I'm not even qualified to touch the core. Therefore, I can't leak it. Of course, other than the Void Emperor, our Gu clan also gave birth to countless saints. They also created countless secret techniques and mystiques based on the Void ancient scripture. Of course, these were also very precious divine abilities and secret techniques. Normally, the Gu family would not leak this information to outsiders. However, there were exceptions. For example, if the Gu clan is indebted to someone, we will give them a divine ability as a form of gratitude. This had happened 3 times in the history of the family. Therefore, I'm not breaking the family's rules by giving you an ancient scripture divine ability. So that was the case. Lin Xian understood. Although it was not the Void scripture, it was the most crucial secret technique. However, it was also a divine ability created by a saint expert of the Gu clan. Its power was also extremely terrifying. Moreover, what the Gu family gave him must have something to do with spatial magic. Space mystiques were extremely powerful mystiques. So how could Lin Xian not be excited? One had to know that the Shadowless clan was aiming for these secret arts. Lin Xian rejoiced inwardly. This kind of ancient scripture was not passed down to outsiders. In history, the Gu family had only passed it down to their benefactors 3 times. Perhaps this would be the 4th time for Lin Xian. This was an extremely rare opportunity, so Lin Xian said, Don't worry, with me here, I won't let the Shadowless clan succeed. The Celestial Lincian Pavilion was a very famous holy land on the great Yen planet. The Celestial Lincian Pavilion was a building built by intersecting 3 top-grade spirit veins. The spiritual energy was very rich. There were even heaven and earth anomalies. It could be said that it was a place that all powerhouses on the great Yen planet dreamed of. However, those who were able to come here were all extraordinary. Other than the peerless experts, only the top clans and sects were able to come here. Outside the Celestial Lincian Pavilion stood 2 young figures. They were Lin Xian and Gu Santong. The 2 of them discussed for a while and decided to go. Wang, the person stopped. A cold voice came from inside the Celestial Lincian Pavilion. The surrounding sword chi formed illusions of an azure dragon and a white tiger. These were all extremely terrifying techniques and arrays. If there were any strange movements, they would instantly kill the person. Even a saint would not dare to act wildly here. Lin Xian and Yi Zichen stopped. An old man's face appeared from within, looking down at the 2 of them condescendingly. This was the Celestial Lincian Pavilion. Not just anyone could enter. Do you 2 have an identity jade token? Ordinary people could not come to such a place. Even some saints could not come. Unless you had a reputation that resounded throughout the entire star realm, or you were recommended by a top family and had an identity jade token, you could enter. I'm here to see Hua Feiyu of the Shadowless clan. As he spoke, Gu Santong took out a token. It was the token that the middle-aged man had given him. The old face in front carefully stared at the token and then nodded. Gentlemen, please. As he spoke, the array in front of them split open. Countless rays of light flashed, forming a colorful passage. The two of them strode in. After entering, even Lin Xian exclaimed. He had to admit that the layout of the celestial Lincian pavilion was exquisite. The array around it was of the world level. Even a saint would not dare to act wildly here. More importantly, there were 3 supreme-grade spiritual veins gathered together. The pure energy they emitted shocked him greatly. They really knew how to enjoy life. He did not expect the great Yen planet to have such a supreme-grade place. If he could cultivate here all year round, the efficiency would be frighteningly high. In addition, the guards and deacons inside were all half-sages. There were even saints. The standard was so high that it was shocking. After Lin Xian entered, he was led in by a half-sage deacon. After walking for about half an hour, they came to the front. In front of them was a very majestic palace. The buildings were engraved with Tao patterns. They were densely packed with the mysterious power of heaven and earth. This was the work of a saint. At this moment, there was a jade platform in front of the palace. Similarly, it was formed with patterns of Tao patterns. On one side of the jade platform sat a woman in a pink dress. She sat there, her hair hanging down to her waist. At this moment, she stretched out her slender hands and was cutting flowers. She was not cutting ordinary flowers, but spirit flowers around 7,000 years old. Lin Xian recognized them at a glance. They were called peace bloom. They had a strong effect on the growth of one's soul. Smelling the fragrance of these flowers could unknowingly increase one's soul power. It was very precious. On the vase engraved with Tao patterns, there were several bouquets of peace bloom. They were all around 7,000 years old. At this moment, the woman in pink was holding a palm-sized dragon scissors and carefully cutting the flowers. She looked very leisurely. However, Lin Xian could tell that she was cultivating. Every movement seemed casual, but it carried the Tao of heaven and earth. Chapter 3445. She was cultivating, which meant that she was a saint. She was comprehending the laws of heaven and earth. This woman should be Gu Santong's fiancée, the little princess of the Shadowless clan, Hua Feiyu. After Lin Xian and Gu Santong arrived, the deacon who had led them left. In the hall, other than the two of them, there was only Hua Feiyu, who was still cutting flowers. A middle-aged man stood in the distance. It was the man who had met Gu Santong before. At this moment, he had a long sword hanging from his waist. His aura was faint, but it was obvious that he was constantly watching the situation inside. If there was any movement, he would intervene. Gu Santong frowned slightly. He was already here, but the other party did not seem to have any intention of paying attention to him. This made him a little angry. He was about to open his mouth to say something, but Lin Xian gently pulled him back, stopping him. At the same time, Lin Xian transmitted a message to him, telling him not to rush. Let's see what she is up to. After Gu Santong heard the message, he calmed down. With Lin Xian by his side, he was not as uneasy as before. The two of them waited like this for 7 days and 7 nights. During this time, no one moved. Only Hua Feiyu, who was in front, continued to cut flowers. Finally, on the 8th day, when the sun rose, Hua Feiyu let go of the dragon's sword in her hand. She raised her head, a strange light in her eyes. Santong, you're here. This time, you're not the same as before. I didn't expect you to be able to wait for so long. Gu Santong snorted coldly and did not say anything. However, he was very unhappy. He had been here for a long time and had waited for 7 days and 7 nights. This damned woman. She was obviously trying to show him who was the boss. Hua Feiyu was very calm. She glanced at Gu Santong, then back at the peace bloom in front of her. From the beginning to the end, she had not looked at Lin Xian. In her opinion, he was not even worth mentioning. She didn't even care much about Gu Santong. If it weren't for his identity and the fact that he had inherited the martial technique, She probably wouldn't even spare him a glance. There is still a month before our wedding. You should go back and prepare for it. My Shadowless clan is a peak family of the Grand Spill planet. Your Gu clan must not disgrace our Shadowless clan. Wedding? Gu Santong sneered. Hua Feiyu, you think too highly of yourself. Don't think that I don't know what your family is planning. Today, I can tell you clearly that I will not marry you. After he finished speaking, the middle-aged man in the distance was stunned, and then his face instantly sank. As for Hua Feiyu, she also stopped what she was doing. She once again raised her hand as her voice became ice-cold. I can take that as a joke, and I didn't hear it. Now, go back and prepare for the wedding. Are you deaf? I said, I will not marry you. Gu Santong roared again. His voice was like a clap of thunder. No, give me a reason. I won't let your Shadowless clan's scheme succeed. You're too young and hot-headed. You're too reckless. What do you think my Shadowless clan is? You think you can refuse just because you want to? I won't marry you today. What can you do about it? Gu Santong steeled his heart. Hua Feiyu was not angry. Instead, she waved her hand and said to the middle-aged man without looking back. She let him out. When the middle-aged man heard this, he sneered and took out a pagoda. Then he formed a seal with his palms, and the pagoda continued to grow. Inside the pagoda, there was a figure floating up and down, suspended in midair by the chains of law. It was a youth with delicate features who was suspended in the air. His face was full of fear. Damn it! Gu Santong stood up immediately. You dare kidnap my brother! He was instantly enraged. That's right, this child was Gu Santong's brother. He had followed Gu Santong and his family to the Grand Spill planet. But he didn't expect that they would kidnap his brother and treat him like this. Gu Santong was instantly enraged. He emitted an extremely terrifying aura as if he was about to attack. The middle-aged man in the distance sneered when he saw this scene. He took a step forward, and an extremely terrifying law surged out. This caused Gu Santong's expression to change. A mere half-sage did not have the right to be arrogant in front of him. That middle-aged man was a sage. Damn it! Hua Feiyu, what is the meaning of this? Gu Santong glared at the woman in front of him. The black-clothed woman said indifferently, Very simple. Go back obediently and stay in your family. We'll hold the wedding in a month. If everything goes well, I'll let your brother go. If you and your family do anything unusual, I can guarantee that your younger brother will be destroyed in both body and soul. How dare you? Gu Santong roared like a madman. Hua Feiyu's expression was indifferent. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'll only say this once. If you don't want your brother's life, you're free to do it. This time, Gu Santong didn't say anything else. He immediately made his move. He instantly used the secret space technique to arrive at the bottom of the tower. His speed was extremely fast. It was as if he had opened a space portal. Once he appeared, he was in front of his brother. The great void handprint grabbed the law chain, wanting to shatter it. Boom! The sound of an intense collision rang out as an extremely terrifying force swept out in all directions. Suddenly, the power of the law exploded. Gu Santong was sent flying. His blood boiled as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Throughout the entire process, the middle-aged man and Hua Feiyu did not move. Seeing this, Hua Feiyu chuckled. I have to say, you're really a piece of trash. If it weren't for your status, do you think I'd marry a piece of trash like you? All right, I'll forgive you this time. Go back obediently. Damn it, you really deserve to die. Gu Santong was so angry that his eyes turned red and his body trembled. He hated himself for being so weak. If he was a saint, then he would have been able to save her brother just now. But now, not only did he not succeed in saving her brother, he was injured by that force. He was a joke to others. Go back? Why should I go back? At this moment, a voice rang out. At the same time, a hand was placed on Gu Santong's shoulder. Gu Santong was stunned. He felt a warm force coming from his body. He turned to look at Lin Xian. A glimmer of hope returned to his eyes. In front of him, Hua Feiyu also frowned. She looked at Lin Xian. I'm talking to your master. Is there a place for a servant like you to speak? Open your mouth. Hua Feiyu was very angry. To be honest, she didn't even like Gu Santong, let alone the person Gu Santong brought. In her opinion, the person Gu Santong brought could not be much of a person. At most, he was a servant of the Gu family. Moreover, from the beginning to the end, she did not feel any powerful aura from him. Now, even Gu Santong did not dare to refute her. A servant dared to refute her will. This was an act of suicide. Chapter 3446. 1. Hearing Hua Feiyu's words, the middle-aged man waved his hand. In the sky, countless laws formed a hand of laws and slapped towards Lin Xian. This was the power of the laws of heaven and earth. It was extremely terrifying. Not to mention a slap, this attack could turn someone into a bloody mist. Feeling the power of this palm, Gu Santong's face changed instantly. It was too terrifying. He could not even breathe. Oh no, Brother Lin, dodge. He wanted to explain Lin Xian's identity, but it was too late. At the same time, he was extremely worried. Although he knew that Lin Xian was very powerful, he had never seen Lin Xian's true strength. The last time they met, it was the woman beside Lin Xian who attacked. This time, they did not bring the woman with them. Therefore, he was not sure if Lin Xian could withstand the attack of a saint. In fact, he subconsciously felt that he could not withstand it. That was why she shouted so loudly. What an idiot. Seeing this, Hua Feiyu shook her head and laughed coldly. Even Gu Santong could not withstand this attack, let alone a servant of the Gu family. The middle-aged saint who attacked also smiled coldly. Fine, let's kill this ant. Let's see if Gu Santong still dares to behave atrociously in front of us in the future. The only one who was calm was Lin Xian. He looked at the sword of laws descending from the sky with a calm expression. In the next moment, he stretched out his hand and grabbed upwards. Previously, Lin Xian did not make a move. This was because he felt that the time was not right. But later, the other party not only threatened Gu Santong, but also captured Gu Santong's younger brother. They even wanted to kill him. At this moment, Lin Xian moved. Boom! On Lin Xian's palm, balls of golden Tao patterns appeared. Like burning golden flames, they reached out to grab the space in front of them. This power caused Gu Santong to be stunned once again. He kept retreating, because the power of this palm was too terrifying. The entire void instantly sank. This scene was very strange. It was as if the entire space had stopped. Only the two palms were moving continuously. Boom! When the two palms collided, there was the sound of thousands of thunderbolts descending. Countless large cracks spread between heaven and earth as the terrifying energy formed one black hole after another. What was even more frightening was that the palm of law in the sky had been smashed into pieces. Not only that, but the middle-aged saint who had attacked also retreated continuously. His palm was bleeding, and his entire arm was trembling nonstop. Then, it exploded and turned into a bloody mist. In fact, when Gu Santong had made his move, the guards of the Celestial Lin Xian Pavilion had already gathered here. However, they saw that it was Hua Feiyu from the Shadowless clan. He did not make a move, nor did he move too far away. Later on, when they saw Lin Xian make a move, they also looked at him with disdain. However, the scene before them had truly stunned them. A saint was instantly injured. Furthermore, he had been lightly struck by the other party's palm. This was too inconceivable. Gu Santong's eyes widened in disbelief. He knew that Lin Xian was very powerful, but he did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. The fact that a saint's attack had been so easily broken meant that Lin Xian was at least a saint, or at least had the combat strength of a saint. There was another person who was shocked. That person was Hua Feiyu. At this moment, the flood dragon scissors in her hand fell onto the white jade bracelet again, making a clanging sound. However, she did not notice it at all. Her beautiful eyes were wide open. How could this be? Shadowless upper spirit was injured. This was too unbelievable. One had to know that the middle-aged man she had brought along was a First Heaven sage, and a middle-stage First Heaven sage. His strength was extremely terrifying. In her opinion, no one from Gu Santong's faction could withstand this attack. However, a young man beside Gu Santong had managed to withstand it. Not only did he withstand it, but he had also injured Shadowless upper spirit. This scene was like a dream, and she felt that it was unreal. Lin Xian retracted his hand, and a smile appeared on his face as he walked forward. In a few steps, he arrived in front of the white jade platform. Then he picked up a peace bloom flower and sniffed it. Then he said calmly, "How dare you be so arrogant in front of me with such strength? Seems like you're tired of living. Since Brother Gu said that he does not want to get married, no one can force him." Lin Xian's voice was not loud, but it was unquestionable. "Who are you?" Hua Feiyu finally regained her senses. She looked at the young man who was very close to her and was extremely shocked. Until now, she had not figured out his strength. It was too strange. He was unfathomable. "You don't deserve to know who I am. All you need to know is that from now on, this brother of mine will no longer be threatened by your family. Moreover, no one can threaten him. Damn kid, you're courting death." The middle-aged man, Shadowless upper spirit, roared crazily behind him. He was actually injured by a brat. This was something he could not accept. Moreover, Lin Xian was being so arrogant. No one can threaten the Shadowless tribe. In the next moment, he roared and threw his palm at Lin Xian again. This time around, his palm became extremely strange. There were simply no traces of it at all. Thus, no one knew where it would appear from. This was the specialty of the Shadowless tribe. It was similar to the void technique. However, Lin Xian did not care. A golden light appeared in his eyes. Then, with a slight tap of his foot, his body moved away in an instant. At the place where he had been standing, a terrifying giant palm appeared and tore the void apart. What? He dodged it? That's impossible. Shadowless upper spirit screamed. How could Lin Xian have dodged his shadowless palm? The shadowless palm could disappear without a trace. Did Lin Xian notice it in advance? He could not believe it. Hua Feiyu was also stunned. She said coldly, "I don't know who you are, nor do I know your relationship with Gu Santong. But let me tell you, the Shadowless tribe is not to be trifled with. The Shadowless tribe is the royal tribe of the 10,000 Archean tribes. Even in the Great Yen planet, we are one of the top tribes. Are you sure you want to start a war with the Shadowless tribe? Not to mention the entire tribe. Just the top prodigy of the Shadowless pillar is not someone you can fight against." Hua Feiyu's eyes were full of arrogance. Lin Xian smiled. "Oh, who is the prodigy of the Shadowless tribe? I've never heard of him." "Then I can only say that you're ignorant." Hua Feiyu snorted. His eyes were full of arrogance. "The top prodigy of the Shadowless tribe is called Shadowless Chin.